neighbors? How are you? I'm Phil Russert, and I'm with the Dark Side. Leadership. It's about lifting people up. My wife gets me a different Star Wars shirt every Christmas, and they're all great. The one I got this year was Vader with Boba Fett. He says this suit cost me an arm and a leg.
That's funny.
So I'm Phil Russert. This is my co-host.
Coco, how you doing,
What's her
Coco?
name? Does she have a name? What's your name? Tell them. You're on my show all the time. All right. All of a sudden, she's shy. Melanie Russert, and of course, he has his own show, The Written Writ. He's part of Apple Bites, which is a live stream with. Wow, I'm drawing a blank here. I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
Don't worry, I can't do it unless I do the whole thing.
I don't know why. Leslie. Wow.
Leslie's great at it. I gotta go.
Leslie Fry.
I gotta go like Well, hello there, Apple Bites. This is your Apple Bite Raphael Tavares talking to you. This is our show here, The Written Writ, the show where you and I and you take a journey together to become better writers. And if I don't do that, I don't know what I'm talking
about. Well, you got it ingrained. It's a look. So look, we're here to talk about Star Wars tonight, but I do want to say, go check out The Written Writ on Wednesdays. Is it still 11 p.m., 11:30?
Yeah, we are late right on Wednesdays, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time.
And then Mondays at 7:30?
Yep, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. You take a bite out of the apple with Apple Bites.
Unfortunately, I was your guest last week, and it was last Monday, and it was a great show, but it ended tragically, no pun intended. So, hey Keith, so rest in peace, Luna. Anyway, so I figure a couple things. This is brought to you by Tragedy. Tragedy is live on Indiegogo right now. We broke 1,000. Thank you so much to all of you, sincerely. So please go over there and back and pledge. We have sketchbooks.
Huh.
We have art books with wraparound covers.
Woo!
Look at that. And a black and white version. There you go. And
dude, man, I gotta tell you, Chris Graves' black and white. It reminds me of all that great noir stuff.
Yeah.
From the old days, or the original Batman. That beautiful, just detective noir type of stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I keep having this idea going, Chris, when I can hire you, I got this detective story.
Len, I got your comps. I'm gonna ship them out Monday or Tuesday, and it's your colored cover. Just so everybody know, stick around at the end of the show. Let me know if you want to win this. It's got a minor damage right there. I don't know how that happened. It came like that.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it came like that from the printer. The box wasn't damaged. It was wrapped nicely. Someone must have stabbed it by accident with something.
Yeah, because that's a weird spot for it.
I'm not going to lie. It goes in a few pages, but it's not bad. It doesn't even affect the story. But it's not worth sending it back to the printer. I'm going to give it away to one lucky winner. It's again, it's a Stef Wilson cover. There's a little bit of a nick on the corner there too, but I'll ship this to you for free. It's all on me. Shipping is even on me as well to whoever wins. So hang out, and you too can get circles with no backgrounds. So
you see Rick, what he's saying over there?
Win something, Steph? Is that really a win? Oh, snap! Yeah, Len, it looks great. It looks really great. So, I guess we'll start. First of all, I'm going to let everyone know, if you're not caught up on Book of Boba Fett, or if there's some Star Wars that you haven't watched that you're afraid you're going to get spoilers, so don't watch if that's the case. Yeah, don't. Yeah, that's what I got kids for. I'm just kidding. Slaves.
That's right. Your storm is worse than ours.
Yeah,
I think you're heading for about 24 inches.
Whatever. You know what? I'm home. It's the weekend. I don't give a crap. Let it snow. I'll jump out with the kids and play, and then when my arthritis kicks in, I'll scream at home in a hot tub. That
sounds about what I'm going to do tomorrow too.
Yeah. So talking Star Wars tonight. First of all, to me, I was 5 years old when I first saw Star Wars, in the theaters in 1977, and I remember the experience. I remember not really knowing or caring what I was going to see, but my father took us, and I loved it. There were a few pop culture movies, books, or whatever that influenced so many other things as Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, and things like that. So I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I figure, hey, Angel, what's going on?
Son of Saint.
So I figure the best thing to do is before we start talking, get an idea of what kind of fan I am, right? And we'll get an idea of what kind of fan you are. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I am not a fanatic. And I know that's what fan is short for, but let's be clear. I don't get angry. Well, I was a little angry at the Disney trilogy, but it wasn't the end of the world because I still have the original trilogy. I'm happy with that. Um, I love the original trilogy. I love those characters. I wish they would have been explored more. I like the prequels. I don't love them, and the sequels I detest. The Thrawn trilogy I've read, love it. Timothy Zahn is a great guy, by the way. I read the first book of Aftermath. I've played the video games of Knights of the Republic, but I have not read those books. I've watched Rebels, and I didn't like it at first, got into it. I never watched Resistance because it's based on the new trilogy, and it just looked like crap to me. I watched all the Clone Wars stuff, including, I forget the artist's name, but the 5-minute shorts that were on Cartoon Network. I own those. Those are great. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about all that. So I would call myself a really solid Star Wars fan, but I'm not a nut fan. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I don't know everything from them. Yeah, I haven't watched Bad Batch because I'm not into the military aspect of Star Wars because I feel I can go anywhere for that. I'm into the spiritual part of it. I'm into the Jedi stuff and I guess the superpower stuff. That's the superhero fan in me. So first, real quick, and then we're going to get to what kind of fan Ralph is. Lennon's here. Rick is here. Keith Brunswick is here. What's up, fellas? Thanks for coming out and hanging out. Angel Manuel Lopez with an awesome cover. Corey Perot, what's up, man? Anthony Helmer, what's going on? I'm painting. I had to drop in a wish. May the force be with you. Well, go have fun, Anthony. And if we're still on, you want to come back and spout off in the chat, go for it because I know you're a Star Wars fan. Oh, it does? Oh, then I'll check out Bad Batch. Cool.
Yeah, if you watch
Bill Meacham's here. What's up, buddy?
If you watch it a couple episodes in, you get a whole different feel for it because it starts off as this military thing, but then they're kind of like rebels thrown out of the whole military aspect of things, and they have to deal with their relationship.
Okay. So tell us, what is your Star Wars experience? What kind of fan are you?
I am like you, Phil. I'm like one of those guys that's gonna get upset about things. Everybody else was really upset about the first. They were upset about the pre movies, and then they were upset about the post movies. And to me, I was like, okay, whatever. It's just Star Wars. I don't like certain aspects of things that happen in both trilogies. And even the original trilogy isn't perfect. We all know that. But I can say that, and I'll start a fight.
Yeah, well, and just so you know, everybody here, we're not here to argue or fight. We welcome differing opinions, but let's keep this nice. Let's have fun. This is just geeking out on a snowy Friday night and relaxing in the warmth of our home. Sebastian's here. What's up? Sebastian is my favorite name. If I ever had a son, I always wanted to name him Sebastian, but alas, I don't have a son. I have 2 amazing daughters, and I'm happy, so.
Yeah, I knew I was going to have a daughter, and I have a daughter.
And Melanie, my oldest daughter, is a big Star Wars fan.
That's great.
She loves the first trilogy. And, first thing I want to say is we're obviously, and there's Bear. We're all products
Sebastian
of our
says,
environment.
please, this is Nerd Wrestling Federation.
Well, originally I was going to do Star Trek versus Star Wars, and we were like, let's just keep it Star Wars for now. We might do that later, though. Oh, Rick,
you know what we do? We do a Star Wars, then we do a Star Trek, and then we do Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Yeah, there you go. Now, Rick, you suck, Rick.
Oh, no.
Okay, quiet. Seriously. Listen. Sweetie, you want to talk Star Wars? And if I kill you live, I'm going to go to jail. I have their witnesses. Yes, Rick, you're going to pay. Trek Wars.
That was a good series.
Thank you for bringing She said, "Thank you for bringing that up, Rick." Yes, thank you, Rick. I have a long memory.
You see?
Anyway,
Yes, I did it.
yeah, I know. Yes, I did it again. Okay, so we all, you usually tend to love the one that you were growing up with as a kid, right? I mean, my daughters, the first thing they saw was the original trilogy, but for some reason they're relating to the prequels, even not the sequels, which you would think it would be the sequels.
Right.
Usually it's the generation you're in. But
And I've
my
seen a lot
daughter
of
is
that.
so
Yeah.
friggin' smart at 8 years old. When we were watching Last Jedi and he throws a saber over his shoulder, she goes, "Daddy, Luke wouldn't do that." I mean, and then in the last one when they put the Emperor in, she's like, "Daddy, that's like, why would he be here? That's so they just threw that in." She's so smart. So anyway, so let's start with let's go through the order. We're going to start with Episode 1, right? Now, I think the biggest mistake they made was this should have been the first half of a movie, not the whole movie. They should have done a time jump in the middle of a movie. We didn't need a whole movie wrapped around an 11-year-old Darth Vader, and we certainly didn't need cheesy moments with "Thank you, R2, for saving us. Here's your reward." And it was definitely made for kids, and that's what Lucas said. Now, having said that, the fans got so angry at Lucas for the prequels that I really feel they made him say screw it, and he
Yeah,
sold it to Disney.
I agree.
And now they all hate Disney and they're complaining. Well, I feel like you did that.
Yeah.
Lucas got rid of it because he felt there was no pleasing you people when it's his story.
Hmm.
Um, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, the redeeming moment, of course, is Darth Maul. Although it was a short fight at the end, we didn't get enough of him. Um, and you have Liam Neeson, which was great as Qui-Gon Jinn,
He
but the
did a
movie,
fantastic job. Mm.
yeah, but it kind of fell flat for me. It was disappointing after all those years to finally get a Star Wars movies, and I was like, what the hell is this? Looking back, it's not as bad as I remembered, because you have expectations going in, right? And we have to be careful with that. Not great, but the third movie in the sequel was the movie we needed. And I'm gonna agree with Sebastian that Revenge of the Sith was it could have been dragged out. That could have been slowed down in its pace and saw a better turn from a more gradual turn from Anakin. But what they did was they used the cartoons and stuff in the middle to kind of fill that out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which I think is a mistake because there are some people that are just movies goers.
But at the same
Rick,
time, we're going to talk about Rebels and stuff like that. I feel like because they did that, both of the movies, the cartoons, the Clone Wars, and Rebels, because they did that, they actually were able to flesh it out more than they were able to do in the movie. Because I feel like one of the problems with the Star Wars movies, especially the prequels, is that you're trying to do too much, or
right.
you don't do enough.
And that's the thing is, you can't compare it to the original trilogy too, because the original trilogy had a tight knit cast. It was the
Exactly.
group of what was it,
Hmm.
6 or 7 people, right? So
And
it was more
it was
intimate.
a certain story.
Yeah, and it was more intimate to that group. Well, here you had the Galactic Republic, and you had the Senate, and you had the Sith, and the secrecy. That you had the protagonists. It was more universal, and I think that affected people because it wasn't this more intimate, family oriented, really investing the characters as much. But I felt they finally pulled it all together in that last scene where Anakin fights Kenobi,
Oh
and
my
that
god,
was well worth it.
fantastic scene! Yeah.
Yes, that was worth it. Um, you're gonna laugh at me. A lot of people hate on the Attack of the Clones, which is a terrible name, but that was a good paced movie. The pacing was fine. The reason is, I do think you needed the exposition of showing them falling in love. I mean, the dialogue is weak, but you did need to see that because you can't understand how scared he was of losing her unless you realize how much he loves her. And
Exactly.
it was his fear of losing her that created the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, because
You know?
losing his mom caused a bunch of issues. Then losing her caused a bunch of issues, which is funny because in the end, he is the reason he loses her.
Right. I mean, it was a vicious cycle. And the
Hmm.
reason why I say the pacing is good on it is the sense that when you look at the first one, it dragged too much. We didn't need to see him as an 11-year-old kid the whole movie, and it was just all that to get off a planet. and the third one seemed rushed. So of the three, this one had its gradual pace. It was developing him like with the Sand People losing it and getting angry, his fear of losing her while falling in love with her, dealing with his mother. There were other things in there that I felt that were necessary exposition. I'm not saying that the execution was great, but the pacing was where it probably should be for that movie. And you got a great third act of action and all the Jedi getting into it. And you got what Lucas tried to do things for people and they still didn't appreciate it. They
Yeah,
wanted Boba Fett. They wanted Boba Fett. Well, he made Jango Fett and he gave you a fight against Kenobi. So you could finally see all his gadgets and see him in a fight, you know? Um, and that's the other thing. You needed the political aspect to show how Palpatine was manipulating.
exactly.
Absolutely. And
That's
how
actually
easily.
one of the best things about the first trilogy is showing how he becomes who he becomes.
Right.
Because that nuance is missed if you can't do it in the movie. At least with the movies, you can see how he turns into Palpatine. How he becomes that
Emperor.
evil, yeah, the Emperor.
Yeah, and I mean, you might say it's apropos when she says, "So this is how liberty dies with thunderous applause." I mean, some people feel that's what's going on now, but we're not getting into that. But the point is, um, then you get to Revenge of the Sith, and this is it, right? This is where Vader's going to go bad, and we see the. I hate to say this, but as much as I love Superman and the cheesy heroes, I do like when the bad guys win because it only makes the heroes more of a hero.
Right.
And Revenge of the Sith and Empire Strikes Back, the villains win.
Exactly.
Hands down, they win. The whole movie, they're kicking their ass, and they end it with the good guys losing, right? What makes Revenge of the Sith even darker is that they don't just lose, they lose, and they lose for the next 18 years until you get to A New Hope. But the pacing was off in this movie, and that's on Lucas. Because I understand the little nods he was giving to show that Anakin was going dark and was going to be easily manipulated, but I don't think it was strong enough in the exposition for the viewer to feel that he was turning. It seemed like out of nowhere he just turned, and then you're like, how does Mace Windu not read him and know that this guy is not right? I mean, don't you have the force ability of to
But isn't Mace the one that
empathy?
pretty much out of all of them, Mace seems to be the one that doesn't have no, you're right.
He's the
He
best
shouldn't have been
saber
surprised.
fighter. Yeah,
He
he's the
shouldn't have
best
been
saber
surprised.
fighter, but he should have known. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, we knew. It's like something wasn't right, and I just thought it wasn't well executed, showing the manipulation of Anakin. Like they make a reference in one sentence that for years he's been like mentoring Anakin,
Right.
but I don't think that's enough.
No. I
Uh,
think the Clone Wars
Rick,
helps you see, and I think that's
yeah,
one of the good things about it. That the series, the Clone Wars, helps you see him become that.
right.
And it shows it to you from different points of views. From Ahsoka's view, from all the stuff that's happening. You can feel, and you're like, no, don't do it, don't go towards the dark side. But at least that series lets you get where the movie was trying to get you.
Yeah, and those 5 minute shorts that are on Cartoon Network, they tied in the most
Mhm.
because you've got Asajj Ventress, who's such a great character. She fights Anakin, and he loses it, and he kills her, out of anger, and that's when you see, ooh. And the other thing is Grievous. General Grievous to me was an awesome character. The fight with Ben Kenobi was lackluster, unfortunately. I mean, he had all those arms, and you're striking with the one arm at the same time, both arms at the same time, and it just, I don't know, it was weak. And but you didn't understand what was up with him with the cough all the time, unless you watched those cartoons. Because at the
Exactly.
end of
Mhm.
the Mace Windu crushes his chest as he's trying to escape. And that's why he had that cough in Revenge of the Sith. But unless you watched those cartoon shorts, you wouldn't know that it was his encounter with Mace Windu that caused that. The other thing is they didn't get into Sifo Dyas, and they didn't, that which was at the end of Attack of the Clones, where Sifo Dyas was this Jedi who was kind of like Qui-Gon Jinn. He was roguish. He kind of went against the council all the time. He was rejected by them a lot because he saw the future. He saw war coming. He saw what was going on. So Sifo Dyas secretly went and created the clone army because he knew they were going to need them. But what happened was Dooku and them turned on him. They killed Sifo Dyas and they took over the clone army. But that's not made clear in the movie. And
No.
unless you read books, which I didn't read, you don't know that.
No.
Or unless you Wikipedia.
See, that was the other thing about, and I know that Disney saw it as a problem. You had the extended lore with all the books and everything, and then Disney comes in and goes, that stuff doesn't exist anymore.
I know. Well, I don't blame them in the sense that they needed the freedom to be able to do what they want. This is where I blame them. You knock out the canon, but then you bring in, and you won't do, Thrawn trilogy never happened, but then you bring in the character anyway to use how you want, and you bring back Maul, and you do these things. So I think it was kind of cheap in that way. Back to work, got to catch the instant replay. See you later, Sebastian. Thanks for coming out. So it's like, all right, you were going to wash it out, but then you're just going to use those characters anyway, the way you see fit. And I don't know. Timothy Zahn, the Thrawn trilogy was amazing. Have you read it?
I didn't get to read it, but I've heard a lot about it.
You have to, and I'll tell you why. He understood the characters the way we understood the characters. He wrote those 3 books, and you felt like you were watching the actual next 3 movies with those actors, those characters. He understood them. I read Splinter in the Mind's Eye years ago, okay? It was a Del Rey book, and I hated that book because Luke and Leia fight Darth Vader on a planet that's Imperial controlled, and Leia's holding her own against Vader. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, Keith, we're gonna get into that. So it was just weak. But with Revenge of the Sith, and then you have those 4 guys come, and I love Kit Fisto. He's my favorite Jedi. They go in there, well, besides Luke and Yoda. They go in there, and they're ready to fight the Palpatine, and the way he goes, whoa, and he does that flip, it was like, oh, yeah. And that fight was so sad. I mean, he goes like this, freeze frame, and the Jedi's just like, do, and he gets stabbed, and he kills him, and then he slashes the other one, and it didn't portray the Emperor as being that good a fighter. It made them look like they were dummies, just like, oh, look, birds. My kids are laughing.
That's so funny because even as you watch the story, even everything they show about the Emperor, it never really showcases him as a fighter.
Agreed. It's always just shooting lightning, but the whole point was that he was very powerful. He wasn't just a great manipulator. He was powerful. This is a guy that went toe-to-toe with Yoda, and but he lost to Mace Windu. So...
Well, I guess because Mace was badass.
Well, it's supposed to be said Mace Windu was the best at lightsaber fighting, and Yoda is the best at using the Force, which I can see that, and that's fine with me, because that's, Yoda's my boy, though.
Be right back.
Children alert. So anyway, the pacing of that fight was really disappointing, and then, and boom, we're at the climax. But... the 3rd act did deliver, I think. When Ben Kenobi is fighting Anakin, it was a long fight. It was a good fight. They went into everything. And at the end, when he's on, when Anakin's screaming because he's lost his leg and his arm and he's burning and I hate you. And Ben is in tears and he's like, I loved you, Anakin. That was great. That was powerful. That was done well. I just wish we would have seen more of that quality of dialogue and emotion in other aspects of the original, of the prequel trilogy. Having said that, here's the biggest thing for me. How old did Ben Kenobi get in 18 years? I mean, geez, man. What the hell?
Hey, man, stuff makes you old. Kids make you old.
I mean, Sir Alec Guinness was like 68, I think, then. And he looked older. He looked like he was in his 70s. He was not moving well. And I get it. They did the prequels and after the original trilogy, but they should have lined that up better. Um, and it didn't seem to make the age doesn't make sense. And when he said, "I don't remember a droid," like R2 didn't remember him, he didn't remember R2,
Yeah,
or was he
all those
playing
little bits and
dumb?
pieces. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think anybody really thought about them. The continuity in all Star Wars until you get the TV series, the continuity is so like out there. It's like, we threw that in there.
and I think that's the problem is they're trying to glue all the pieces together with all
Hmm.
these spin-offs and shows and all this stuff, but not everybody's into that. They just want to watch the movies, and I think
Exactly.
that hurts the movies. Obviously, we love the original trilogy, right? Darth Vader, to me, the best villain ever made. Period. And then the redemption thing is fantastic. Um,
I gotta
here's
admit,
where
like, we haven't talked about Rogue One yet, but I feel like Rogue One showed us how much of a badass Darth Vader was, better than the prequels or the sequel.
that was a dream come true.
Dude, man,
Uh,
and I feel like that's why Mandalorian, they use the same type of feeling
yeah,
because it's like father and son, and you feel that being passed down from badass to badass.
I agree. And all right, let's step back to Rogue One for a minute. Rogue One, solid movie.
Yeah,
Um, here's the weird thing: solid movie, but not very memorable protagonists.
because it really
Like
wasn't
maybe
about
the
them.
Asian guy who was a Jedi follower. Like he wasn't a Jedi himself, but I forget his name. He was in
It Man,
IP Man, Ip
yeah,
Man.
It Man, yeah,
Yeah,
he
and
kicked
stuff.
ass though.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably most memorable. But what's his name, Cassian, whatever, and
Hmm.
her, not memorable to me. But the movie was solid, and the
Well,
Darth
you know
Vader
what it
scene brought it
is?
over the top.
Technically speaking, the movie's more about it's not even really about them. It's more about this thing they're doing. It's Suicide Squad, or it's the Dirty Dozen, or it's the
Right,
Magnificent Seven. You know, even though those movies do it better than these guys, but because those you have memorable characters there.
right.
But that's what this is. These people are gonna die because you already know that from watching
They
a new
say many
cast.
people died getting
Hmm.
us these plans for the Death
Exactly.
Star, right? And I thought that was a story that had to be told because it helps you, put those pieces together.
Exactly.
A story I'd love to see them do, and I hope they do it in the Ben Kenobi series, was I wanted to see obviously what happens to Ben while he's watching Luke for 18 years, but Vader hunting down the rest of the Jedi. Now, in Marvel Comics, they just a couple of years ago they did touch on that with Charles Soule as the writer, and it was good. But I really want to see it fleshed out. I want to see him hunting down all the Jedi and wiping them out
That would be a
as he
moment of
grows
making him look
darker.
like a badass again. Yeah.
Yeah, and showing him grow darker, darker, darker. Like most heroes in a war are forgotten, but their actions help move the cause. Exactly. Obi-Wan, do remember the droids as do Vader. There's actually a great explanation to it. It's visible in the movies. Tell us, Rick. Tell us.
Yes,
I'd
Rick.
like to
We
hear
want to
that.
know.
Rick is saying that they do remember the droids, and there's a great explanation that's easily missed in the movies. Please, I'm serious. Tell us, Rick. I know that C-3PO gets mind wiped, but R2D2 did not.
Right, because you can tell that
Um,
R2D2 seems to know everybody, and he has these little moments where you're like, "Hey, he knows a little bit more than he."
Dude, R2D2 is the only reason why the good guys won.
Right.
Straight up. He's the only reason. I mean, they all die in the trash compactor if not for him. And
True.
he was uploading plans. He was opening doors. He got them to escape Cloud City.
Yep.
I mean, he R2D2 saved their ass every time. He's the exactly R2D2 is the hero of the story. Without him, they would have never succeeded. Which is like he was like the Gandalf of Star Wars in a way. Um, I know you say Ben Kenobi, but R2D2 is the one who really knew what was going on, and saved everybody. But and there's that story again that even the smallest person can make the
Exactly.
biggest
You can make a
contributions.
difference. And that's always
Um,
good. It's always good to see. Like a lot of people got upset with Jar Jar Binks, and when I first saw him, I'm like, I know who this is. This is in every story, there's this guy who is like not totally there. He's the comedy. It's part of the fantasy staple, so I didn't have an issue with it.
I didn't like him, but I tolerate him more as I went on. The weird thing is, Lucas heard the fans say they hated him, so he kind of wrote him out, but he
Yeah,
gave him an important role in the second one. He's the one who tilted the tide to give what do you call it, to give emergency powers to Chancellor Palpatine, which ultimately led to him being the Emperor. Um, yeah, I haven't read the Dark Horse Star Wars. I want to get
I've heard a lot
the
of good things about Dark Horse Star
yeah, I
Wars.
want to get
Yeah,
the omnibus of them and check them out. I did read the Marvels; they were decent, but I heard Dark Horse is the way to go. So Rogue One, you go to New Hope. Of course, New Hope has flaws. The first one is him touching and adding all that shit that he did. Just leave the original trilogy alone. Of course, Luke, the incestual thing, but he didn't intend for that. She wasn't supposed to be a sister at first. They changed all that. Yeah, he changed all that. He decided to
so
change all that.
let me
So
ask you
that
this. Here's a big question for you, and I know like the Star Wars Continuum likes to argue this point. Lucas at first said he had this written for 9 parts.
yes,
When he was doing the original 3, he was like, "Oh well, technically, I had this whole thing set up, and this is what I wanted to do." Now, do you believe him, or do you believe that he has winged it?
I think he had no. I read a lot of things of he did have storylines from the last 3, but I'm going to be honest with you. From what I heard, I would have been just as disappointed with those because here's the thing: the biggest problem, Timothy Zahn said it best with the last trilogy. When the first movie didn't even have one scene with them all together, you knew you were in trouble.
Yeah,
And that's true. But
because you
here's my
wanted to see them
biggest issue.
together. Yeah,
Here's my biggest issue. I understand you want to get to a new audience, right? But we never got the tales that we wanted with Luke as a master Jedi and everything on screen. We were cheated of that. All right. So that's the first thing that bothers me. Move on from them, but we didn't get enough of them in their prime, in their heyday. Having said that, do like the new Ghostbusters movie did. And if you didn't
that
see
was
this,
great. That was
I'm not
great.
gonna
Yeah.
spoil events, but this might be deemed a little bit of a spoiler. Tune out, la la la, for a few minutes. The new Ghostbusters movie introduced a very likable new cast, but didn't have to wipe out the old cast to do it. They show up and they do a mentor thing, and you can see that if they move forward with this, they're going to be around as mentors.
Right.
Why can't you? Why can't you? Why can't you incorporate new and old and keep the old around? Even if you put them a little more in the back, just keep them. Did you have to kill everybody we freaking love in Star Wars? There are 2 people that should not be killed on screen. No, 3. I'm sorry, 3, in my opinion. That's Captain Kirk. They did that.
They did
Han
that. Yeah,
Solo.
that
They
went
did
really
that.
wrong.
And Luke Skywalker. They did
Hmm.
that. And Han especially and Kirk especially, I think, because Luke could go out heroically, but so Force Awakens, not a good movie, but not a bad movie. It just was what it was. It was hard to see a
Yeah, out
living
of all
old
3
Han
movies,
Solo.
I feel like Force Awakens I have the less problems with.
Right.
And that's all. And again, I feel like that's the problem. The only problem in Force Awakens is that you don't get that scene. I feel like if you gotten that scene, Force Awakens would have been fine.
I waited 25 years to see Luke Skywalker kick some ass, and they robbed me of that.
Well,
All
no,
right.
they did it. They showed it to you in Mandalorian.
Yeah. Now I don't. I never understood why Harrison Ford disliked the character so much of Han Solo. This is a guy that was a carpenter on stage at 39.
Yeah,
He did get that role in American Graffiti, so obviously Lucas knew him. And Lucas had him try out for Han Solo, and he never wanted to be this character. He hated it. He wanted Han Solo killed in Return
from the
of the
beginning.
Jedi.
Yeah,
He wanted him killed in Return of the Jedi. Yeah, Keith, exactly. And I don't know why, but whatever.
yeah,
That launched
and
his
you can
career.
tell
But
that Harrison actually doesn't like the character.
had launched his career, but okay. But just to kill him off, and he didn't get to see Luke, and it's just and but the biggest problem is, as we all know, with the trilogy is she was a what do they call her, a Mary Sue. She wasn't challenged ever. Everything came easy to her. Hello,
But
we're talking
if
about
we're gonna
the
start like
last three Star Wars.
if we're gonna start talking about that, I feel like they did Finn wrong because they set this guy up to be
Big
the
time.
hero of the movies, and all of a sudden now it's her, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't mind if it's both of them, but don't get rid of Finn because Finn had a great story in the first movie.
Well, here's a guy that was a stormtrooper in the Empire, or
Hmm.
whatever. It's not the Empire per se, but and you could have fleshed that out, and you made him Jar Jar Binks, and that's all on Ryan Johnson.
Yeah,
Ryan Johnson's Episode 8 did so much damage, and I know a lot of Star Wars fans who like it, and that's fine. But to me, it did a lot of damage, and I'll tell you why. First, it destroyed all the plot threads that J.J. Abrams opened in
set up. Yeah.
Force or
Hmm.
Awakens. Second, you totally ruined Luke's character. It was not his character. This is a guy who, even when he didn't know Leia was his sister, he was going to sacrifice his training and his life and go up against Vader to save them. And then he was willing to sacrifice his life to redeem his father because he had that much faith.
Yeah.
And that was the
Hmm.
baddest Sith in the universe. But he's going to turn on Kylo Ren like that and look to kill him, or think about killing him and lose his faith and turn his back on everybody. And Han is dead and he didn't feel it. He's this powerful Jedi, the most powerful, arguably, and he didn't feel Han's death, and he
Which
didn't
is funny
care.
because it's stabilized that they have this connection in earlier movies. So Skywalker and Han Solo, they have a connection. So
Yeah, it didn't make that was totally wiped out by Ryan Johnson. It didn't make sense. J.J. Abrams also screwed up because when Solo dies, Chewie walks right past Leia. It was so weird. Um, and yeah, we're gonna get to that, the titty milk. And yes, Finn would have made to me a more interesting protagonist. She was dull. She can't act. She's got no personality, and everything came easy to her in the trilogy. So she never felt tested to me. So how can you be hero? See you, Rick. Talk to you later.
I gotta admit,
Um,
there's very little hero's journey for her.
there's none.
Yeah,
I mean, she beat Luke in a fight. What are you, nuts? And I feel I'm not going to get into why I think they did that, but whatever. So now, Episode 8 destroys all the plot threads, right? It destroys Luke's character that he's been for 30 plus years. It made Finn into Jar Jar Binks. It turned him into a clown from the very opening scene when he's got the water gushing out of the tubes and he's walking around like a dumbass. They made Poe Dameron, who could have been the next Han Solo, look like an impetuous little shit, a
and
moron.
they do a bunch of different things that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then your whole plot was that the little ships were too fast for the big ship. When A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and all these other movies start with the freaking Star Destroyer catching up to a Tantive 4 or some smaller ship.
yeah.
But all of a sudden, the smaller ships are quicker. And you couldn't have people flank them. You couldn't. I mean, really, it's just that's the whole thing. And you're running out of fuel. And why? And then instead of Admiral Akbar getting some shine, you kill him, and you barely even realized he was killed, unless you're a big fan. It's a trap. And you bring in Laura Dern's character out of nowhere, who has no back history, no attachment to her whatsoever. So when she makes her sacrifice, you don't feel connected to this character. And why didn't she just tell Poe what her plan was? Why did she have to keep
That's
it
what
secret?
everybody asked. Everybody asked the same thing. Why not tell Poe?
And I'm sorry, one of the worst scenes in history of any movie for me is Mary Poppins in space. That was so bad. It was so bad. And then you had the whole casino scene. There was a good chance to bring in Lando, but they didn't. and it was like it just felt like political commentary. And you let the animals go, but they're just gonna hunt them down and catch them again anyway. That's what they did the first time, and just that whole scene was unnecessary. Canto Bite, what's his name? The actor,
I'm bad at
Del
names.
Toro,
Okay.
Benicio del Toro.
Okay.
There was no sense of that character at all. It made no sense whatsoever to introduce him. And they break him out of jail
Well,
just
a
for
lot
him
of
to
the
get
things
caught
they
again.
say, and the rumors were that there was supposed to be stuff that came out of the trilogy. It was supposed
Well,
to be like
yeah, Ryan Johnson was
extending
supposed to
everything.
have his
Yeah.
own trilogy,
Yeah.
but
Hmm.
see, and you touched on that, and that's important because it felt to me that Ryan Johnson made that movie strictly to wipe out everything so that he could
He
do
can
his
do his own
trilogy.
thing.
He
Yeah.
even says it in the dialogue many times, right? Get rid of the past.
Yeah.
He says it a ton of
But
times.
Ryan Johnson's never been a fan of the Jedi's or the Jedi Order
No.
or any of that stuff. And he was very vocal about it from the get-go.
I don't know if I coined the phrase. I did say it once, and then I heard other people say it. I don't know. I can't say that I don't know who
It's
coined it,
funny, you
but
said Mary Poppins in space, and I was thinking Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah. But so I mean, there's so many things wrong with this movie, and then the way Luke went out does not bother me because no one beat him, and it showed how immensely powerful he was. What
That was a
bothers
good.
me,
I gotta give them credit. They pulled it out. I'm not sure how they decided to pull it out, but they pulled it out with that because it's a sacrifice that somebody of his caliber would make.
and that's a fine way for him to
Hmm.
go, but not in episode 8. We should not have seen Luke die. Give us Luke. We didn't have him in any of episode 7. He was a jackass all through that movie, and then you get rid of him? And he didn't even have one lightsaber duel or just something interesting, crush a few AT-ATs, something cool. I felt that was a lost, wasted moment.
And
But
it's funny
Howie went
because
out was fine.
people want to argue that we're being nitpicky, but it wasn't the fact that we're being nitpicky. Like the story arc that they use for Luke makes sense. I'm not gonna say it doesn't make sense. It makes sense, but you wanted to see him get there. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
wanted to see like in the books he goes dark side, so I don't have a problem with that. I just want to see what happens. I want to see where he is. I want to see how badass he is. And they didn't give us that.
yeah, and Len's talking about something which I'm going to get to in a minute and touch on because I don't know if you know what the original ending to Rise of Skywalker was, and it would have been better. I could not stand that third act of Rise of Skywalker. It did not seem like Star Wars. It seemed like a cheesy sci-fi flick that made no freaking sense. But in Episode 8, another problem is Ryan Johnson decided to make up Jedi powers, and it's not so much that you can't create new powers. I'm not that strict. It's that the powers made no sense. Like, first of all, Snoke. What was the sense of that? And people will say, "Well, they didn't develop the Emperor in the first trilogy, and you killed him off." Yeah, because they planned on making sequels that would tell you about him, prequels that would tell you about him. So you knew you were going to find out about the Emperor in
But
prequels.
at the same
We
time,
didn't. We didn't
you
find out
had the
anything about Snoke.
Emperor for 3 movies.
Right. Well,
Snoke was in one movie,
and yeah, and he
and you
was
weren't
so
even in the whole movie.
and he's powerful enough to connect two Jedi's across a galaxy or more,
Mhm.
but he couldn't figure out that Kylo Ren was going to kill him. He couldn't sense that. He didn't feel the lightsaber shift, or it just made no sense. It was dumb. I didn't think that fight was all that interesting. It was very slow. She missed a cue in the fight. I
And
know
they
I'm
never
nitpicking
go.
there,
They
but
they never tell you anything about Snoke. Snoke. It's like one of my problems is as a writer, you don't use disposable characters. Why was Snoke there? There was no reason for him to be
well,
there.
again, because I think he was supposed to be the major villain with JJ, and Ryan went in there and screwed it up. Now, that ultimately falls on Disney and Kennedy and all them because how do you go into this trilogy and not have it scripted out?
Yeah,
You went movie by movie, not knowing where you're going next and just making shit up
that's
as you
exactly what
go.
they
That's
did.
a disaster.
And you can feel it. All 3 movies, they don't have a connection.
No.
You can tell that they decided, oh, this is how this movie is. This is how this movie is, and this is how this movie is. And you,
Well,
you can see that there's no connection. As a writer, I can see there's no connection. I can
right.
tell that they were like, throw things in there, see if it sticks.
Yeah. Well, see, this thing is JJ. I think had a focused thing, but he didn't do episode 8. So Ryan came in and did first. Whoever was in episode 8, I forgot the director. He got fired
Yeah, I
because they
remember.
didn't like what he wanted to do. So they throw in Ryan Johnson. Ryan's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get my own trilogy. This is my chance to set it up. Fuck this series."
Exactly.
So he ruined what JJ was setting up. So now JJ has to come in and fix everything for episode 9, do all this fan service, which ruined the movie. He has to go by the plots that Ryan, that created after destroying his own. So there was no way 9 could be good. There was no way JJ Abrams could save it. But now you're creating Jedi powers. Like you're a ghost, but you can touch shit. You're Patrick Swayze, right? So if Luke could catch the lightsaber that Rey throws into the freaking fire, why can't he still fight as a ghost? He'd be the ultimate. You can't tag him, and he would just slice you in half. Why couldn't
Right.
he go beat the Emperor? It made no sense. He can grab tangible things, but you can't fight. And then just he's bringing people across, and then when she teleports the lightsaber to him, what the frig was that? What
I've
is
got a new
that?
power.
And by the way, they made Kylo Ren look like he was garbage unless he had a lightsaber. It's like I don't know. It was I didn't mind the power where they can heal using the Force. That
It
actually
actually makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah.
That power makes sense, so I didn't mind them adding that, except that they added it for the convenience of that movie. It wasn't established; it was just thrown in.
Because if you think about it as the force being the light side of things, then you should be able to heal. Just like the dark side of things, it lets you be able to destroy. So,
And that's the thing is, like you said, it's tied to all the energies of life, and everything's
hmm
bound together. So you could
exactly.
see a healing being a thing.
Hmm.
So that was fine. The slave kid at the end, he's a Jedi. That's just Ryan trying to set up his trilogy at the expense of this one. As far as Rise of Skywalker, the MacGuffin made no sense. Like, what did you need that shit for? She is so great at everything that she was born and raised. I mean, she was dumped on a desert planet, which was a desert planet worse than Tatooine. And all of a sudden, she can navigate the roughest waters and a machine that she had never touched before and get over there, just like she flew the Falcon like a pro. I mean, this woman had no challenges. Her character was so unlikable because you couldn't relate to her. Everything came
And it's so
easy.
funny because one of the things the fans like to say is, "Well, Luke was the same thing," but yeah, I'm like, no, Luke was a pilot. Luke was always a pilot,
Thank
and
you.
that's why when he goes into the starfighter, he can do what he does because he's been flying for years.
Which, by the way, they did the tribute to Beggar's Canyon
Hmm. I saw.
in Boba Fett.
I saw.
So,
Just and they brought back the ship from the original trilogy.
yes, and we're gonna get into Boba Fett. What's
Hmm.
up, John Ottinger? Black Hole is a great movie, and it's the darkest
Start
Disney
over,
movie ever
Tom.
made.
You missed it.
Yeah, I know. He comes late. Damn it. Yeah, John. So Len says the last scene battling the Emperor, giving up his life to save Rey. All right. You know why I didn't like that? It was cliche. The redemption thing. It was just cliche. And he killed Han Solo. How do you redeem that character?
Well,
He
in
killed
order,
Han
like
Solo.
as a writer, in order to get to where they get to here, you gotta have him redeem himself for killing his father. Feel sorry for killing his father. Something has to happen where he goes, I shouldn't have done that. You know, and I do know that the third movie was supposed to be more about Leia, but
Yeah.
she died, and they had to change all that. So maybe we were gonna get that moment. I don't know.
By the way,
Where he confronts his mother.
I'm gonna get flack for this, but I'm
Uh-oh.
always an honest guy. Everybody was like, Princess Leia, God rest her soul. I'm like, you know what? You killed yourself coking up at 60 again, you jerk. And I'm not mad that she's dead because she ruined my Star Wars experience. I'm upset that her life is over because she could never get her shit together,
She made a bad choice. Yeah.
And I hate that we always make everybody saints after they die. Obviously she ultimately only hurt herself, but I mean, let's call it as it is. She fucked up. She was snorting coke at 62 or whatever years old. Well, what are you doing? What are you doing? So God rest her soul. I hope she's at peace, of course. But you reap what you sow. What the hell are you doing? So anyway, and I do have sympathy for people who have drug addiction, but at
Yeah.
the same time, if you're in your 60s and you still haven't cleaned up, you're lost. You're lost. Um, so Rise of Skywalker had just so much. It was boring. It wasn't fun. Lando was wasted again, and you have all these. Where did the Emperor get the funds and everything to build all these ships? Nobody ever knew he was out there. I mean,
You don't
they
explain. Yeah, they don't explain any of that.
and of course they all have their own portable,
In
planet
my
destroying
opinion,
cannon, but it all goes to one
yeah.
antenna. It's
In
just
my
too
opinion,
convenient.
I feel like after what happened in the second movie, they were like, dude, we got to do something, and they fan service this. They go, if we bring back the
Oh, the
Emperor,
Emperor was
yeah,
never supposed to be in this.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what it feels like to me. If we fan service this, we bring back the Emperor, people will be like, oh shit, the Emperor's back.
But you know what? It didn't even feel like the Emperor to me.
Yeah.
It didn't
It felt
feel
like a
like
whole other
him.
character.
Yeah, and it just. And I'm sorry, but the last fight was so bad. First of all, when do you stop shooting lightning when it's hitting yourself? Like if I'm shooting a BB gun at you and you're deflecting it and they're hitting me, I think I'm going to stop shooting. He kept shooting until he killed it. And what the I am all the Jedi. And she puts out the two swords, and it was just cheesy as hell. He shot lightning up there, and he was destroying all the ships. He was that powerful. He shoots lightning, but the swords absorb it. And by the way, can't you aim for her feet or some shit? Why are you shooting directly at the swords and not moving? And then they're reflecting back, and you just let it disintegrate you. This was the ending that was supposed to be. He
Keith,
was supposed to be
your mom
defeating.
was damn straight. Billy D. Williams is the sexiest man alive. Go
The
ahead.
original ending
Uh-huh.
was that they, and this would have fixed a big, big issue. First of all, they said that Skywalker's that line that Luke was the chosen one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Vader was the chosen one.
Yeah, first it was
He was going to
Anakin, then it
bring
was
balance
Luke.
to the
Yeah.
Force, blah blah blah,
Mm-hmm.
which he really was, because he is the one that killed the Emperor, and he is father to Luke, so he really was the chosen one. When Rey kills the Emperor, you wiped all that out.
Yeah.
The Emperor wasn't dead. So the original ending was supposed to be that he is beating them and he's sucking their power like he was and this and that. And the Force ghosts of Anakin and Luke come out and they grab him and they pull his Force ghost out of his body and take him away.
Oh, that sounds like a good ending.
That would have been a much better ending. What we got was a cartoon video game ending in a Star Wars movie that I couldn't get into. I just couldn't. It was dumb. It was freaking dumb. And it was too convenient. It's all attached. All those ships are attached to one tower. What moron would do that? I mean, it was bad enough when they did it with the Death Star, but you think they'd learn from the Death Star and not do it again?
From the first Death Star, the second Death Star, the third Death Star.
Yeah. I mean, actually, you know what? You're right. Even the third Death Star, which was the Star Killer. Yeah, it's like, what do you learn? What if Ewoks are just dwarf Wookiees? Listen, what's his name?
I always thought that.
What's the actor from Game of Thrones? He just got upset recently about Snow White having dwarves again, so be careful. Who just messaged me? Anyway. So
you're probably going, don't say that.
Yeah. Stop it. So there was so much wrong with that trilogy. It was so disappointing. And then of course they're all dead. So there's that's it.
Dude, did you believe the love story between them?
Rey and him? You could see they were hinting at it in episode 8.
I know they were hinting at it.
But it was so forced and bad.
Yeah, it's the same problem I had with the love story between Anakin and Padme. If you're trying to show me that these people fell in love, you're doing a bad job.
Well, with Anakin and Padme, it was the dialogue that made it bad. But they did give it enough time to develop. You could see he had a crush on her as a boy, and then it starts off with him gushing over her and that. So it was a little less believable that she all of a sudden started falling for him.
Exactly.
But it was still better than this. I mean,
Oh, much better than
they
this.
were
But it's the
they
same
were
problem. I have an issue with this because all of a sudden now, and it feels again, it's another of those things in this movie that feels like all of a sudden they're in love, and you're like, where the hell did this come from? I felt like she was more in love with Finn than she was in love with this guy.
I know, right? That would have been more believable. And you know, and here's the other thing. Going back to Force Awakens, I know that Chewie shot him and he was injured. And he still had training to do, but he's this powerful dark lord of, you know, Knights of Ren, whatever, and he can't beat Finn and Rey?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, he should have slaughtered them, injured or not. You know, he could force choke one while he's sword fighting the other. I mean, what the hell? So you know,
I gotta admit that there's a flaw in his character where I can see them being able to beat him only because he's so temperamental.
okay, but then he goes and beats Snoke in the next movie like nothing,
Like
and
nothing.
it's
Yeah,
just like he
they're
just
not
elevated
consistent.
he became so much stronger in a short period of time.
They're not consistent.
Well, again, it's because they didn't go in with a plan. They wrote
Yeah,
movie to
and
movie.
and you're right. It feels to me like they go, "Hey, first movie, second movie, keep throwing things. Third movie, we got to fix what the hell that guy did."
And that's the thing is J.J. Abrams, you know, people crapped on him for episode 9. I don't blame him at all. I like J.J.
He
Abrams
did a good
movies.
job trying to fix it. He
He
did a
did the
good
best he
job
could.
trying to fix
What
it.
can he do? What can he do?
Dude,
Now,
and I there was a little something somebody said. He is a bigger Star Trek fan, and you can see it. You can see how he lovingly crafts Star Trek more
but
than
you
he
know what's
does.
funny?
Yeah,
Star Trek fans say he shit all over Star Trek, which I liked those sequels and I like Star
I
Trek.
love the Star Trek sequels.
Those
Yeah,
remakes.
yeah.
And the Star Wars fans say he shit all over Star Wars. So this guy
He can't catch
was
a break.
done.
Yeah.
And right, Robert, quick movies to sell toys. But you know what? Even the original trilogy that we loved was to sell toys.
Sell toys.
But I think you can
The
do
second
it
and third movie was to sell toys. The first movie, which is why the first movie is so good.
because you didn't expect it to.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like, all right, so I get you want to sell merchandise, but you can still make a good damn movie, and the better the movie is, the better the merchandise will sell. I mean, it just goes hand in hand. I didn't mind the space horses so much because I mean they still have animals, they still ride. No matter how much we have tech, we can do video calls like this. You're still gonna jump on a horse, and they weren't in space; they were on the planet, so there was atmosphere. So I didn't mind that because it's the only way they could fight the tech thing that was going on. But one tower for all of those ships, and then you win, and then General General Hux. They turned him. He was somebody that could have been a good villain from Force Awakens. You made him a joke. I mean, that movie started off so bad with not just with the bombing. Yeah, now people got mad. There's no gravity in space, but all right, but it's sci-fi. Let it go, whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole talking to him and making him look like a jackass on the intercom, and they all get destroyed. Like they didn't see that coming. You're going with these slow bombers into these huge star destroyers with TIE fighters, and you're like, oh, we're gonna be fine.
No,
really?
Because I've seen enough World War II movies. They're not fine. The World War II movies do it better.
I was like, it makes no sense.
Right, dude. And if you're gonna do this, then you get some amazing starfighter battles as they try to protect the bombers.
Oh, and here's another one. This is a nitpick, but you know, Laura Dern, she shoots the ship and she cuts it in half and destroys it, and somehow that shockwave reverberates and destroys all these ships, which is physically impossible. Physics is denied. But anyway, it's a sci-fi movie, fine. But you look at Rogue One, as they're about to go into hyperspace, the Star Destroyer shows up and it smashes into it and gets destroyed. So which is it? You can go through shields and just ram through his ship, or when you hit it, you get destroyed. You know? And that happened in the original trilogy. The fighter went into the main deck of the Star Destroyer. It went through its shields. But I think they destroyed the shield tower first. Hey, boo.
Yeah, I think so. And then it was almost kamikaze like.
Len says the Laura Dern scene is exactly how I felt about the whole Star Wars trilogy. Crash and burn.
Oh my
Now,
God.
now comes redemption, right? So they announced the Mandalorian, and I'm going to be the first to tell you, I was like, this isn't going to be good. What is this? It's some character we don't know. It was great. I love the Mandalorian. Not even just because of the Luke thing at the end, but the Mandalorian was well written,
Yeah,
well
very
paced,
well written,
and
very
I
well
thought
done.
every scene, every episode was good. Now some people nitpick some episodes, but every episode was good.
But you got to admit, they picked a classic trope to do. The
Oh
cub,
yeah,
the wolf and cub trope.
that's right.
Where you have the hero having the small creature or baby or whatever it is that they have to protect. It's a great trope, and it brings
With
a
the
lot out
spaghetti
of the
western
character.
style. You
Yeah,
mix
exactly.
spaghetti western,
Hmm.
sci-fi, and wolf and cub. Yeah, absolutely. Lone wolf and cub. You're right,
Yeah.
and it
Hmm.
worked. And that just goes to show you there's only so many stories you can tell, but as long as you can write them in a good, interesting way.
And that's the whole point of writing.
Part of the reason Len says, let's see what he said. Part of the reason why it works is because they're reintroducing the alien races and cultures and flying through space on different planets. And there you go, Len. And that's what I'm going to get into. What's bothering me about Boba Fett. All right. Not that Boba Fett is bad, but it's just not reaching its potential, in my opinion. So Mandalorian comes out of the gate. It does really well, right? And people love it. And you get to the last episode of last season, and John Favre and what's his name? Uh, uh, why am I losing his name? The other dude, not Dylan. What's his? Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. I thought it was a Kevin
Don't
who did
expect me to
that.
remember names.
Um, they bring you Luke, and I'm sitting there going, I didn't know if it was going to be Sebastian Stan or CGI or what. You see the X-wing come in, and I'm like, that's Luke's X-wing right away, and I'm like pumped, and my kids are there with me, and my wife and my mother. And then he comes and you see the black glove, and I'm like, that's fucking Luke, man. That's Luke. And then the green saber comes out, I'm like, that's Luke. And then he does all this stuff. And when he pulls it off, the CGI wasn't the best, but it was good. And it was solid.
Right.
And it was everything you wanted to see, right? It was awesome. Then we get to Book of Boba Fett. Adding in Boba Fett was interesting in that, right? And Mandalorian. Yeah, agreed, Len. We're going to get into that too. So we get into Book of Boba Fett. He was introduced. I thought that was good. I thought it was good. I don't think this actor acts very well. I don't think he's a good actor. He's very deadpan. He's very monotone. But he is what he is, right? He was Boba Fett. He was Jango Fett. You got to do it. He was a little fat and out of shape for Boba Fett, but okay. I mean, I don't know how he gained weight in the Sarlacc pit for 4 or 5 years, but okay. Seeing him crawl out of the sand there, getting out of the Sarlacc pit was great.
Yeah, that whole scene was just wow.
Now, some people like it was an underwhelming escape from the Sarlacc pit. All he did is get up and torch it.
No.
But here's the thing. What more could they have done to make it exciting? The fact that is, he shouldn't have survived. He was in there for 4 years. When you look at the flashback from not this past week, but the week before, he fell in Return of the Jedi. Mandalorian takes place 4 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And when he crawls out, that's right before he met Fennec, and went with the Mandalorian. So this means he was in there for 4 years, and the only reason why he didn't die was his advanced armor.
Yep. And they say it in the episode before this. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the name of the armor? Best. I forgot what it's called, but anyway.
That's some armor, man.
Yeah, but the point is, so that's really why he survived, his armor, not because he's anything special. And even then, the slow digestion.
And then people forget that when you fall into this creature, you're not digested right away.
Over thousands of years.
Slowly digested, exactly.
Yeah, and again, he. Now the question is, for 4 years, how did he not dehydrate and starve? That doesn't make sense. But it's space. You overlook that. So he crawls out of the sand, and I think that's awesome. It's a great. It was
an awesome scene. I don't really feel like I don't understand why people have it because he just clawed out of a creature. What the?
Right. But you know where this is where Boba Fett falls short for me on these two things, and why I think a lot of people are rejecting it. And Len touches on it. Boba Fett shouldn't be this stagnant a character. He's stagnant on with the flashbacks, which were, no offense, they were kind of cliche with the tribe. It was all flashbacks. We finally get to the present tense, and you give us a Mandalorian episode. Um, his acting is dull, and you're seeing his mask off a lot. His mystery's gone. Boba Fett had 6 minutes and something seconds of screen time. He was mysterious with an awesome aesthetic, character design, badass character. And he's getting his ass kicked a lot, right? He's not mysterious anymore. And the guy that's showing you he's not mysterious can't act for shit. So that's the first problem. The second problem is you keeping him stationary on Tatooine when you could have him flying through space as a bounty hunter, which would have been more interesting. And you know, look at there was the book, The Bounty Hunter Wars. You could have done that, and then you could have brought in Bosk, IG-88, Dengar.
It's funny because they could have gone that way, and then at the end of that, him go, you know, I'm tired of this, and do this whole thing that they're doing now.
Right.
Because it is a great story, but I think that's why you were right. We were discussing this before, and you had an issue, and I think you figured out what the issue is, and it's that whole, it's Star Wars, but we're stuck on this one planet.
Yeah, I mean, you've got, and Len mentioned it over there, you know, you've got all these different races and planets and galaxies, and we're stuck on Tatooine. Listen, when Ben Kenobi comes out, it makes sense to be on Tatooine. Why are we on Tatooine now? You know, stuck here. And I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going. I've liked
because
it
is a good story. It is a very good story. As a writer, they've done very well at crafting the story of showing you all the bits and pieces, why everything connects to each other. It may not be the story we wanted to see, but it's a good story.
Boba Fett's not bad, but this is the other thing that hurt Boba Fett. The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is what you wanted to see in Boba Fett. He was mysterious. He hardly ever took his mask off, right? He was a badass. He was bounty hunting. He was fighting. He was traveling to different planets. They can't do that again with Boba Fett, or it's just regurgitating shit.
Which is one of the things I was thinking about when they said they were doing Boba Fett, because I'm like, we just did this with the Mandalorian. We can't do it again.
Yeah, and that's the thing is they kind of pigeonhole themselves with Boba Fett by doing the Mandalorian and doing it so well.
Yeah,
the Mandalorian is what you wanted to see Boba Fett be. He was
exactly.
The Mandalorian is what Boba Fett was in the original trilogy. You know, so that hurt them a lot too. I think. Am I enjoying Boba Fett though? Yeah. Do I think it's cool that he went back to take over Jabba's stuff? I can see that.
I agree.
I just don't. I think that would have been a season 2 challenge, like you said.
See, I feel like you're right. I feel like show him doing all this stuff, and then have him come to the planet and do this, because this is a good story.
Let him have his journey first, right? Yeah.
There you go. Let him do the journey.
But again, it's not bad. But then you have the last episode, which is the Mandalorian episode. It's all Mandalorian. I think it's a mistake. It's just me to have brought the Mandalorian into Boba Fett and tie him in, because now he's going to take over. He's the bigger character now. I mean, Boba Fett is the bigger legendary character, but in the realm of these shows, Mandalorian is the favorite because he's more of what Boba Fett was supposed to be. So now you have him in the series. They just had a whole episode on him, which felt very strange to me, because we finally got past the flashbacks with the Sandman, which was dragged out. Now we're going to see what he's going to do now. And you go to the Mandalorian. And that was weird. And then now
we're not saying it was a bad episode. It was just weird.
Oh, it's a really good episode.
It's a fantastic episode.
Belongs in the Mandalorian, not Boba Fett. And now Boba Fett's not supposed to be continuing. It's supposed to be just this season.
Yeah.
But they always say that until they see the ratings, and they continue. I don't know how they're going to continue with Boba Fett in this case. I mean, he's finally healed. He's got his armor. He's in shape again. And we flash away from him and go to Mandalorian. It's very weird, you know? I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, we'll see where it goes from here. It's a good series. It's just not... It's just a hard act to follow. Mandalorian's a hard act to follow. Good night. Sleep well, sweet dreams. God bless. I love you, kiddo. See you in the morning, bear. Noses. See you in the morning. I love you. Sweet dreams. God bless. Melanie, which is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Episode 2.
Tell them. She said episode 2. Who's your favorite character?
Anakin and Padme.
Anakin and Padme. Who's the best Jedi in the world?
To me?
Yeah.
In episode 1, the guy.
Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yeah.
Her favorite Jedi is Qui-Gon Jinn.
It was a bad mumble.
Bad Mama Jamma. Who's
Exactly.
your favorite Jedi, Kaylee?
I don't know.
Who's the baddest Sith on the planet?
Darth Vader.
Yeah, baby. Who wins, Darth Maul or Darth Vader?
Darth Vader.
Thank you. You are my child. So, yes, I'm going to do noses with you, Robert.
That's what I was reading.
So, I have a friend, Andre Jackson. We always joke around Vader or Maul. And I shit you not, back in the early 2000s, we went to the Roosevelt Field Mall in Queens. And we went up to random strangers and just said, Vader or Maul. Do you know everybody had an answer? We went to men, women, different, didn't matter your race, your age, 50-year-old. Everybody had an answer. Hey, Charles, what's going on? Better late than never. And it's funny because he always says Maul will beat Vader. And I'm like, man, Vader's choking people out over a TV screen. Get out of here.
I feel like Maul, because of they actually fleshed him out, that's the only reason why Maul is a little more badass than Vader, but Vader will kick his butt.
Well, Rebels solved that because in Rebels, he's there with Ezra and he goes, Vader's on his way. I can't take him by myself.
Exactly. Because he knew.
Right. The only reason why Vader wasn't the most powerful Sith is because of the mechanical body. He couldn't use Force lightning, and it limited his movement and stuff. The mechanical body gave him augmented strength, but it limited him. What's up? You just hanging? So, Vader beats Maul any day of the week. Maul's a cool ninja Sith, but he couldn't beat a Padawan Ben Kenobi.
Which is why when we saw them fight in Rebels, I was like, "You're gonna lose."
Now in Rebels, Maul finally fights an old Ben Kenobi. He fights the Lord Sir Alec Guinness version of Ben Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
I was so excited for this fight, and Kenobi takes him out in like 3 swings. Well, which shows you how powerful Kenobi is.
They went with a samurai fight. Samurai fights are
right.
That's it.
Which in real life, you know what? How well can you really dodge a sword? It probably would be that quick.
Mm-hmm.
But he beat him so easily. So really, he's gonna beat Vader? Don't think so. Maul had more honor. It depends on who wrote him.
Yeah.
It depends because he also was the head of the Black Syndicate, the Black Sun, which goes to Solo. I'm going to go on record as saying that is not a bad movie. It got flack and crap because of backlash from Episode 8. People shunned that movie because they were mad about Episode 8. Did that guy do a good job as Han Solo? No.
Solo's a great movie. The movie itself is a great movie.
The movie was good, and it made sense what they were telling. I didn't think he was a good Han Solo, though. He was too soft and nice. So they tried to make it like that was how he becomes this hard-edged rogue because he can't trust anybody. Mm-hmm. I liked the movie. I loved when they say that Woody Harrelson's character killed Aura Singh because she's a really cool bounty hunter that they address. I thought the movie was good. I thought the guy who played Lando did a great job. Yeah. And I enjoyed the movie. It is not a bad movie.
They were supposed to do a Lando movie to follow that up.
Oh, really?
And I think it's still in talks, but I think because of what happened, it's kind of like up in the air.
I don't know if his character can carry a movie though. I don't know because he's not a fighter. He's a womanizing manipulator. He's not a fighter.
He's a smooth talker.
It was a little weird. His little not ancestral, but his little romantic thing with the robot was odd. But, and she was like feminazi. But
dude, when you got mojo, you got mojo.
Yeah. I loved when Chewie was fighting him in the pit and beating the hell out of him. That was great. And then of course Maul at the end showing that he's the head of the Black Sun.
That was great.
That was
Yeah.
cool. So I'd love to see them
Oh,
continue
Solo was supposed to
Solo.
be a couple of movies, right?
Yeah, and I don't know if they've totally said screw it or if they will try. I don't know. I hope they do. Here's another thing that they did in Boba Fett that this is a little gimmick trick that they seem to do a lot in Star Wars. You never got to see Boba Fett fight the way you wanted, so they gave you Jango Fett.
Right.
You never really get to see Chewie kick ass the way you want him to kick ass, so they gave you what's his name, Black.
The Black Wookiee.
No, but his name is Black something.
Yeah, it is.
And they show him kicking everybody's ass. So they kind of give you a fan service through a new character that's got similar attributes, which I'm fine with, you know? But yeah, I'd like to see Chewbacca kick a little more ass. I did like in Force Awakens where Han is like, wow, this thing is powerful. Jesus, this
Yeah, when he finally
crossbow?
feels it, yeah. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, Len says it too, right? Yeah, you know, there are plenty of interesting characters to invent, create, and push forward. They can build on the backs of the old, but move it forward. I agree.
Exactly,
Just
yeah.
like the Ghostbusters.
That's the whole point. And
Will, you're an hour and 16 minutes late. What?
And the reason the Ghostbusters was because, you know, they gave us the other Ghostbusters, and people were like, "Well, you don't like it because it's women." I'm like, "No, it doesn't continue the story." There was a script. There was a script where it was supposed to be the next generation of Ghostbusters, and it was their daughter, like it was his daughter. It was a bunch, and it was women, and I was like, that would have been great because I would have continued it. And the reason this one does so well is because of the continuation
Right.
of the
other
legacy.
one with the women was a reboot.
That's why they were like, that's why I'm like, oh, you guys don't like it because it's no. We wanted to see a continuation.
Listen, that's always the go-to. If you don't like something, it's usually because you're racist or misogynist. Like, no, it just sucks. It just sucks. What I will say is Will Clayton has done some Star Wars paintings, Greedo and Dengar and stuff that are freaking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
That if I could, I'd buy myself. Will Clayton is going to have his own art sale with me live soon. And you're going to be able to buy some awesome Star Wars art, Princess Leia, from him. So
I saw those when we were doing the last art show. It was some great stuff.
Yeah. He's so talented. He's a big Star Wars fan. See how Lando gets to Cloud City.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that'd be a good story.
That'd be a good story, but you definitely have to have a good supporting cast with him, I think. How many same characters in different ages? How many versions of the same story do we have to wait until we're bored? Give me something new within the confines of the world. Well, you know, a lot of people are saying that, Len, and that's why people are clamoring for Do the Knights of the Republic.
Yeah. It's a whole different story. It's a whole thing. Unless you played the games, you really don't know much about it.
Yeah, playing the games is how I knew Darth Revan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But and Amalgus and stuff. But I didn't read the books. What I did read is the Thrawn trilogy, which I will forever love that. And I read the Aftermath, which was the trilogy that came out before Force Awakens, that they said would tie things in. It didn't tie anything in. It created character. It was lame. I mean, it wasn't poorly written, and it wasn't a bad story. It didn't. I don't know.
Do what it said it was going to do.
It didn't do anything for me. Yeah. So the question is, where are they going from here with Star Wars movies? Because obviously they're doing all right with the Disney Plus. Although, as much as I thought I was going to like Rosario Dawson for Ahsoka, I did not. I didn't think she didn't feel like Ahsoka with her personality. But
well, that makes sense. We're so used to seeing her in the cartoons, and she has a certain character in those cartoons.
Right. Beskar, that's the name of the armor, by the way. Yeah, you know, and you saw in Mandalorian when she was in there, Thrawn is alive, and he's there. So they're gonna bring in Thrawn, Ahsoka.
I gotta admit,
I will watch that.
I gotta admit, I can't wait to see if they find the kid. What's his name again?
Grogu?
No, from Rebels.
Oh, Ezra.
Ezra, because that's the whole point of this. She's supposed to be looking for Ezra.
Right. Yeah. I heard they're supposed to bring him in. Now, I'm telling you now, I am so excited for Ben Kenobi. He was cast very well as a young Ben Kenobi.
Yeah,
Despite the weird discrepancy in the ages in 18 years, he was cast very well as Ben Kenobi.
he did.
And I look forward to him reprising the role. And Anakin is going to be in it. I don't know if it's going to be flashbacks or what. See, this thing is, did the Empire destroy Cloud City? We don't know that. We don't know they took it. Did they destroy it? Did anybody?
I don't remember it being destroyed.
Yeah, I don't remember being destroyed. They were just going to take it over.
Now I'm gonna have to like go back again.
So I'm looking forward to Ben Kenobi a lot. I mean, what else is coming out? I didn't watch The Bad Batch. I'm going to check that out. What else is coming out? Oh, real quick. Right now on Disney, there are Japanese shorts based on Star Wars that are so freaking good.
Amazing.
The animation is beautiful.
Yeah. They did a good job with those. They should do more stuff like that.
Question: where do you guys think is the purpose of Grow Quarry 99 in the scope of the Star Wars? I don't know what that is. What's Grow Quarry 99?
I don't know what that is either.
I mean, there's the Order 66, but what's Grow Quarry 99? Oh, Grogu. What do you think is the purpose of Grogu? Like he said before, lone wolf and cub. They needed to have that, and at the same time, it's that thing I said where we don't have Yoda anymore. Well, we got to bring back Yoda and his race.
And we all know that certain Jedi's escaped the whole thing that happened. So it's possible that Grogu escaped, and if they're going in that direction, I feel like right now they're trying to form some kind of story. It doesn't look like they're trying to touch anything in the new trilogy, and there's a rumor that they're going to wipe out the trilogy.
Well, I've heard they're going to retcon it. So let me ask you: did Yoda, while he got away, get his groove on? Like did he, do the nasty with somebody, and Grogu's his kid? I mean, yeah, Grogu's 50 years old because they lived to be 800 and something years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was one other of Yoda's race on the council in Phantom Menace, a female. So who knows? Maybe they got a little bump and uglies going on there. Yoda was like, "You want to come over here and play a little bit?
You want to come over here and play a little bit?" That'd be an interesting scene.
Foreplay is lightning. Tase my nipples. Now, what would you feel if they did Luke growing up story? See, I think it would kind of be boring. Yaddle, that's it. Thank you, John. Yaddle. Is the name of her. I mean, I think it would be boring if you did a Luke growing up to be 18 because he wasn't learning anything. He wasn't a Jedi. He was just sitting on a desert planet, bored out of his mind, and maybe flying through Beggar's Canyon a few times. But I'm going to Tashi Station to get power converters.
Oh my God! I forget how whiny he was.
But it was fine because it showed his growing up quickly.
Yeah.
Still,
the whiniest scene of all is when Vader goes the reveal and he goes, "Yeah."
I never understood. Keith says I never understood why the Bespin guards didn't put up too much of a fight in the beginning. I always wanted to see a big fight scene. Keith loves Cloud City.
Yeah, I can tell. He keeps going back there.
So let me ask you in the chat, and I'll ask you, Raph. What would you like to see be the next big Star Wars trilogy in the movies? What would you like to see as the next one-shot movie? And what would you like to see as the next Disney show?
Well, I want to see this whole Ahsoka story. I want to see them, because I've been waiting for it since the whole thing happened in Rebels. So I want to see them find Ezra. I want to see what's been happening all this time. What's Ezra been up to? And I feel like it gives them a lot to work with. When in that area, and I know that there's been like rumors that in certain movies you can see some of the other characters from Rebels, or you hear like I think in Rogue One you hear them calling the crew from the Ghost. over the
What's her name?
loudspeaker. Yeah.
The
Mhm.
Twi'lek. Yeah.
Yeah,
What's her
exactly.
name? I forget. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I loved Rebels, and I would love to see what the connection would be there, and I want to see what happens to those characters. They did great building those characters, so I want to see them further those characters. As for movies, um, it's like really up in the air. They did such a horrible job with the last three.
Would you like them to redo the three with Luke and maybe CGI Leia or what? And maybe you'll have to write Han out because he won't do it again. The only reason why I did Force Awakens is so they could finally kill him.
And the funny thing is that I feel like that whole opportunity is out the window. They had a chance to do it, and it's out the window. They need to figure out how to fix things without having to, and it's going to be difficult because you know it's.
I
You
don't think it'll
see,
be
even I'm
accepted
even
at this
having trouble
point.
trying to like put it into words because
I think the fans will shit on it because they'll be mad that
yeah,
you're
well,
trying
they'll
to
shit
do
on
this.
anything that happens because there are people that like 8, 9, you know, so and it bugs me out because a lot of people defend 8 with they really love 8.
I thought it was different. I mean, to each his own. I don't crap on people for having a different opinion. I just couldn't stand it. I didn't know Chopper was in Rogue One. You got to tell me the scene, and the ghost appears in Episode 9. I didn't know that. Um, Here is one of my favorite creatures from the Star Wars world, the Wampas, and there was a story. There was a short animated. There was an animated short, but it was based on a book. There was a book, a Star Wars book, where rebels are on the planet and a bunch of Wampas are attacking the base, and they're dealing with Wampas. That's pretty cool. Um, I
The
have
good
been
thing is that
told.
they have so much to pick from.
I know. I was told. I have read a lot of reports, and Will just brought it up that Mace Windu isn't dead,
Yeah,
and Samuel L.
I
Jackson
didn't
said
think
he'd
so.
love to play him again. He'd just
Yeah,
have a metal arm. I don't know how he survived the fall, but I guess you can force.
but dude, like a bunch of the Star Wars characters have fallen from higher and survived. So I really don't see Mace
Right.
falling as an issue.
Yeah, Joe. I was saying that before. I agree with you. I'd love to see a prequel starring Vader that shows. I would have loved a solo movie that focused on Vader and Ben Kenobi at the same time.
Each
Um,
one showing what they're
oh,
doing. Oh, that'd be a good
oh
idea.
shit! He just sent me the Will just sent me the picture. Yeah, there's Chopper, son of a bitch. Nice. That is so cool. I'm gonna check that out now. Thanks, Will. Um, and I thought it would have been great because you could show the duality of
Yeah, what's
Vader
he doing here?
is
What's he
killing
doing
all the
over there?
Jedi's.
Yeah,
Kenobi is trying to make a life on Tatooine and maybe fight some drug people and just keep an eye on Luke. Because I think that's what he does. He deals with like, drug runners and spice runners and gangs and stuff on Tatooine, but while trying to keep a low profile. I wonder if Ben Kenobi will be more like the old Italian spaghetti westerns, like the Outlaw Josie Wales and that. You
the man
know,
with no name.
yeah, it was too why the rebels didn't use the X-wings on Hoth to fight the AT-ATs. I think they explained it. They said the temperature was the issue. The reason why they had to use snow speeders is because those machines ran well in the cold, but the X-wings did not.
The only reason I know that is from playing the video games.
Yeah. Yeah, Vader series, you really could explore him. What I will say is Charles Soule did a great job of exploring. Do you remember in A New Hope there was the general, the Grand Moff Tarkin,
Yeah.
obviously was the boss, but then there was the other guy who said, "You and your sorcerer's ways," and he got his ass choked out. Well, the Emperor kept messing with Vader mentally. He made Vader answer to that guy. Um, what do you call it? And have that guy had to be his boss. So Vader had to listen
Wow.
to that dude. So it was interesting. There's the problem I think with Star Wars is not only is there so much they haven't touched upon, but there's so much that they touched upon poorly that
Yeah.
they could retcon and redo it, and I'd be fine. And I'm going to say this, and you're all going to yell at me. Do you remember that short somebody did on YouTube where it redid the Ben Kenobi Vader fight on A New
Oh, yeah,
Hope,
that was a
but
pretty good fight. Mm-hmm.
but they made it like a badass fight.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was an amazing fight.
I would be okay if they redid the original Star Wars with today's ability to show Vader fight like a badass. And the reason why I'm okay with it is because I still have the original trilogy to love and adore.
Mm.
But if you updated the new trilogy with Vader fighting really well and things like that, and imagine a new fight with Luke and Vader that was even more dynamic, and then the Emperor fighting, I don't know. I'd be interested. I think it'd be cool, and you'd be bringing Luke and them back to a new audience in a way that maybe we can't with the original trilogy. And I know I'm gonna get shit for that, but
well, they did a Vader book in the comics, so making a Vader movie actually makes sense, or Vader's TV series.
And this is true too. He kept Vader on Mustafar that's where his castle was, so he could stay in the pain of losing what's her name?
Yeah, it's all mind
Padme.
games. Yeah, it's all mind games.
Yeah.
Because he wanted us to keep in control. And we saw what happened when the Emperor lost control.
See you later, Will. Yeah. Well, and again, things that he goes, you can't stop us, and Lord Vader will be even more powerful than both of us.
Oh,
well, that was the point in Empire Strikes Back. Vader was just toying with him. He was swinging. He was one-handing the sword, and he was just messing with Luke. I think he was testing him too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But in Return of the Jedi, he was fighting Luke. But the thing is, he was now fighting Luke while he was fighting his own conscience, and Luke was a Jedi master now, and he was angry.
Yep.
So it was kind of like the roles flipped, where Vader wasn't at his full strength in Return of the Jedi because he was battling his confliction with killing his own son and feeling there's a chance for redemption because of his son. Luke won already when they were there, and he goes, "It's too late for me, son." The second he called him son in that way, you knew that Vader was conflicted. And that was it. But Vader just felt, I can't get out from under the Emperor. There's nothing I can do. This is the way it is.
Because the Emperor made sure to keep him there. And that's what I'm saying. Once you saw that the Emperor didn't have that control over his mind, that's when Vader Anakin came back and kicked the Emperor's ass.
Meanwhile, I read Robert's thing wrong. He was saying Vader doesn't have to fight because it's beneath him. Yeah, because actually in the books and in the canon, Vader liked to fight because he liked to kill. He wanted to fight. He had so much rage built in him that he was constantly looking to fight. As a matter of fact, there was a great story where Grand Moff Tarkin, he goes, "I want you to test me." So Grand Moff Tarkin and them, he gets a bunch of bounty hunters and some people, and they hunt Vader on a planet. And this planet has storms and different electrical storms and all these different things. And they could always hear Vader breathing, and that's how they were hunting him and this and that. Vader actually shut off his respirator machine so they couldn't detect him, and he fucked them all up. And he beat Tarkin, but then Tarkin lured him, because Tarkin's a great strategist. Tarkin lured him into a lightning field. So Tarkin, the only reason why Tarkin lived is because the lightning attracted to the metal, and it struck Vader several times. And that's how Tarkin didn't get killed by Vader. It was pretty cool. The white droid behind C-3PO on Leia's ship was helping the Empire? No, I don't know anything about that. On Leia's ship? On Tantive 4, you mean? The ship that in the very first Star Wars movie? I also like how Rogue One goes straight into A New Hope.
Yeah. It's seamless.
Now, they did a great job with Grand Moff Tarkin, they did a great job with Leia, and they did a great job with Luke with the CGI, and it's only getting better.
Yeah.
What if you could CGI Han Solo and Leia and them in? Would you be in for a new trilogy with them and written the way we freaking want it?
I feel like that's only with directed thing, unless they go animated, because with at least the ways they've been doing the TV shows, the ones before these now, If you did it that way, you can actually probably pull this off because you can use the characters and tell the story you want to tell.
See, I always wanted an animated Luke, Han, and Leia, and Chewie, and go.
Yeah, I always thought it was a great idea to do an animated story.
See, the thing with the CGI though is it's just the faces. The bodies are real people. Everything else is real.
Exactly.
It's just their faces. You know, whoever did the voice for Tarkin sounded like him. You can get someone who sounds like Leia, and then Luke will be himself. He'll have his
Yeah.
own voice. Or or they've got the technology now to de-age him, and he'll use his own body.
Which they've done in a couple of movies, like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right.
There's a couple of movies where they've de-aged people. Oh, the new Spider-Man movie. They de-aged a couple of the villains.
Right. So I don't know. I'd be interested, but it would have to be the right director. They would have to care about the content, and it would have to be something that was taking its time and not pushed out. Because I think that's ultimately what happened to the trilogy. The Disney trilogy is they had just bought the rights and they wanted to get the property out there quick to make that money back.
Yeah, they went way too
So
quick.
they didn't plot out a trilogy. They just got everybody together, said, "Let's go." So yeah, actually, I did hear something about that. I think I remember hearing Keith. He said about that white robot that was working for the Empire and New Hope. But so what about you guys? Some of you mentioned Robert and Keith and whatever. What do you want to see on Disney, and what would you like to see as a new trilogy? Would you like them to go back to the Skywalkers, start something new, a new generation of Skywalkers? Retcon and redo. What would you
Here's
like
something.
to see? Would you like to see Rey and Finn back?
I understand that they had an issue, like the second guy, what's his face from he had an issue with the whole Jedi Order type of thing. But you can have an issue with that and still tell a good story. You know, Ahsoka, Ahsoka, she's not a Jedi, but she has Force powers. And then there's the Gray Jedi.
She denounced
Exactly.
being a Jedi. She quit.
And then you have the Gray Order, the Gray Order of Jedis, which nobody likes to cover, and I've always, like, everybody always goes, "Are you light side or Sith?" I'm like, I'm gray. I'm gray now even more, but I've always just said I was a gray Force wielder, because I feel like that hasn't been really looked at. That storyline hasn't been looked at, where these guys who play the middle,
Right.
I think that'll be a great story.
And it would bring something fresh to the situation. But a lot of people want to see Revan and Malgus and Plagueis. And
that's the whole thing. Like, even with this trilogy, the last one, people were expecting the book with the twins and all that the great series that happened. They thought that was going to be the follow-up, where and that would have been a great story. I would have loved to have seen that.
What about Mara Jade? That was a great character.
Exactly, Mara Jade, all that stuff.
She wound up marrying Luke.
That's what the last trilogy was supposed to be, at least from the rumors that were happening when Lucas was still in charge.
Dude, they didn't even. I don't think Disney even understood the canon. They didn't know anything about Star Wars other than that it was a multi-billion-dollar property that they had to have. So Robert says he wants new characters, enough for the Skywalkers. See, I'm fine with moving on from the Skywalkers and stories, but I wouldn't mind still having one aspect of Star Wars to just still enjoy the Skywalker lifeline, and not see it end. That's just the kid in me,
But it's so funny because if the whole, I feel like the last three movies was to destroy the Skywalker mythology, which is why I thought it was funny that they called the last movie Rise of the Skywalkers, because it was really the fall of the Skywalker.
Oh, you brought up the biggest thing that pissed me off. At the end of that freaking movie, this chick stole the Jedi books, stole their lightsabers, stole the Falcon, stole BB-8, stole his name, stole the house. You son of a bitch. She stole everything. She's a klepto. She stole everything. Why doesn't Chewbacca get the freaking Millennium Falcon, or how come Lando doesn't get it back? What did
Lando
she
should have
do
gotten
to
it back.
earn that?
Yeah, that's what I thought they were gonna do. I thought that Lando was going to get the, especially because he's still around, he was going to get it back his Millennium Falcon.
But where does she get the rights to that? She just met them. She didn't even know Han Solo that long before he died. Why do you get that? And then she gets the Jedi books, texts. She gets Luke and Leia's lightsabers. She gets their house, their name, and she gets BB-8. Why? That was Pose.
Here's something that bugged me out. If this is the ending you wanted, why didn't you make her a Skywalker? Not this convoluted story that they did. She should, because I thought in the first movie, I thought they was setting up that she was a Skywalker. And I was trying to figure out how they were going to do it, because somebody would have known that a kid was missing.
I actually thought that they were going to tie her to the Emperor. I did, because of the flashback that she get, the dark vision she got when she grabbed that saber. But that's another thing they just totally dropped. Where that Maz Katana, where did she get that lightsaber? And why did it connect to Rey so much when she's not a Skywalker? And then Maz Katana has this 2-minute appearance in 8.
They were leading in that direction, especially with the whole lightsaber thing that you're talking about right now.
And they totally just dismissed all that. So I thought they were going to do a mini series about Lando's daughter.
They were.
I don't know. All I know is the shows are giving me hope for Star Wars, but I don't see any movies on the horizon. What are they doing with movies? What are they going to do?
I feel like they won't be able to figure it out until they go through enough shows. Then after enough shows, they might figure something out.
They're going to have to do like Ghostbusters, even not necessarily in one movie, where they're servicing the old fans and bringing in new ones. And all these companies always have trouble figuring out how to do that. And that's why I'm saying you've got so much, like you've got these series that are catering to the older fans, right? Mandalorian caters to new fans, but Boba Fett and Ben Kenobi cater to older fans. Ahsoka creates a bridge because she's like in the middle, right? Those are fans that are 10 or 15 years ago.
From Rebels,
So
that's from Clone Wars.
Right, that's good. Now what do you do for the movies? Maybe you do a Knights of Republic, old Knights of Republic
See, that's
series.
what they were saying. The rumor was that they were going to go completely off book, go back to the Knights of the Old Republic and do a trilogy there. That's what they were saying for a long time.
And that would be great. I would love to see that. At the same time, I would like them to go back to the universe I know too. You can do both. Why not?
And it's funny because the rumor was that in Knights of the Old Republic, you would see a young Yoda.
Oh, yeah?
Because he was young during that time period.
Yeah, well, because he died at, 830-something years old or 880 years old? He decided he didn't want to hear Luke whining anymore. He's like, oh, I just got to go.
I agree. I think he's like, I got to go, man.
Luke, you're going whiny again. This ain't Tashi Station. Sorry, I got to go.
I don't understand.
And here's the other thing. Everybody shit on the prequels, and they yelled at George Lucas, but every single person in that theater, when Yoda came in, walked in.
That was a great scene.
But you heard everybody go, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they did the Force lightning. He gave everything you wanted in that fight. They did the lightning. They did the elevation, the telekinetics. They did all
that
the
was
powers.
An amazing fight scene.
And then when he pulls out his sword, and he doesn't pull it out, it goes to his hand.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, yeah.
All the twisting and turning
when he
and
jumped
flipping
and started flipping around, the crowd was going
crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So, but then they're shitting on the trilogy. It's like, wait a minute, make up your mind.
I do find, I don't know if it's because of these last 3 movies, but I find that more people are accepting of the trilogies. People that didn't like it before seem to like it now. And I'm like, well, you didn't like the trilogy before. What the heck?
Because they see what it is. Rob Howard. I thought you were on Twitch, man.
Yeah, man, Rob, I thought you were twitching. He was over there drawing some stuff.
I thought you were twitching out. Rob Powers, you should go check out his art and his book, Penguino's Revenge, and Cataclysm is coming.
Cataclysmic, man.
Cataclysmic, man.
He just happened off.
So now I'm in all the movies. Yoda then he limps away. Yeah,
Yeah.
he gets. But
That's what made it
someone's
so great. You know what it is? It reminds you
he's
of one of those
tapping into the force though.
old-fashioned
That's why
kung.
he.
Yeah,
What's that?
exactly. Reminds you of one of those old-fashioned kung fu movies with the master. He's all old and cranky, and all of a sudden, and then at the end of it, he
Right.
goes back to.
But someone said that's then he picks up the cane and he starts limping out again. Well, he tapped into the force to get that ability. That he was
Exactly.
that powerful and connected to the force because he's 800 something. At that time, he was still 800 and like what 10
That's
years
a lot of
old.
years to master the force. Yeah.
I know he was that powerful, and he tapped into the force to get that life.
But again, I didn't see any problem with it because I've watched enough kung fu movies and I've seen it before.
Right now, if he went drunk and monkey, then we got a problem. But
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah.
so yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought I liked Count Dooku, which is I don't know if people realize his name is Darth Tyrannus.
Probably not.
That's his Sith name, Darth Tyrannus. I want to get a jam piece of all the Siths.
That'd be great.
I don't know if they said that, but it probably would be true. Yoda was a badass. He could beat
Yeah,
everybody.
I've heard that before. That if Yoda had gone to the dark side, he'd be the most dangerous force in the universe.
Charles reminds me of my achy bones. Yeah, what would be cool? What if Tails? All right, you know what, Rob? Now you got to do a Sith Yoda mashup for your art. But you know what would be cool as a what if series for Star Wars?
That'd be interesting.
They're owned by Disney, which is and Marvel, right? Marvel's Disney also. So
Yeah.
why don't you do what if Star Wars? What if Yoda became a Sith? What if Vader never became a robot? What if he beat Ben Kenobi?
That'd be interesting. What if he never went to
know?
the dark side?
Right. What if Padme never died? What if Luke was never born? Or there's so much you could do. What if the Emperor cross-dressed? I don't know, but you could do a ton of stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. What do you guys think about a what if Star Wars?
I love the Marvel, and I always love the Elseworld DC. So
yeah, they could do some cool stuff. You could even go into the Knights of the Old Republic what ifs. What if Revan was never good because he was good and bad.
Exactly. A Marvel Star Wars mashup, that'd be interesting.
Well, you did one already. Remember my first suggestion that started all was I told you to take an X-Men villain and a Sith and mix them, and he made Omega Red a Sith.
I remember that one. That was bad.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the first mashup. I'm going to take credit for that.
What if Star Wars series I'd watch? Yeah, see,
Hell
Joe would
yeah.
watch it.
I would definitely watch that. He did the What If Star Wars anime. I forgot what it was called. Did they really? I don't remember that.
There was an anime that was they did a Star Wars anime that retold the story, if I remember right.
What if Leia turned bad? What if Leia gave up the coordinates to the Rebel base?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
What if they didn't get the plans to the Death Star in Rogue One?
That'd be interesting too.
What if General Grievous didn't get crushed like that by Mace Windu? Because in the cartoon he fights 5 Jedi and he kicks the crap out of all of them. He was fighting on one leg, holding a saber and one foot, and he fought what's his name, Kudi Mundi. I forgot his name. He was one of the Jedi Masters. He was no joke, and he couldn't take Grievous. So. Yeah, there's a lot you could do.
Oh, my favorite part of the whole thing is when Kenobi goes, "Hello there."
Yeah. Well, hello there. What if Sifo Dyas never created the clone army, right?
There's so many what ifs, yeah.
What if instead of clones it was Ewoks? What if the Ewoks didn't save? What if the Ewoks didn't save them on that? Help them return the Jedi. What if they ate Luke and them? Because they were going to eat them, right?
Because that's the direction you look at. If you look at everything, it looks like they're cannibals. So,
what if R2-D2 wasn't in Star Wars? Nobody would have won. No. R2-D2 saved their asses every time.
Every time. Even 3PO had a lot to do with a lot of the stuff that happened.
Yeah, but
If he wasn't there,
R2
yeah,
R2 was everything, man. But at the same time, if they didn't worship 3PO, the
exactly.
Ewoks would have eaten them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you remember that the cartoon with droids?
Yes.
Oh my
It
god,
was
I
on
enjoyed that thing
CBS
so
on
much.
Saturday
Yeah.
mornings.
Their adventures going from place to place.
Anakin goes on a killing spree. What if Anakin's mother didn't get,
Die.
captured by the Sand People? What if Anakin never got off that planet? What if
Hmm.
Qui-Gon Jinn never took him?
Yeah, because that's a decision right there because they decided to take him. Maybe he would have listened to Obi-Wan and not taken him. What would have happened then?
What if Darth Maul beat Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Mm.
What if Mace Windu never? What if Mace Windu actually killed the Emperor?
Yeah, that would have changed a lot.
Dude, they had Star Wars cookies, glasses, everything. Oh, that was nuts. Had it all.
What if you had to share a
Share a
bathroom with
bathroom with
Chewie
Chewie
on
on
the
the Falcon.
Falcon? Oh,
What
oh,
if? What if you didn't let the Wookiee win?
that's a good one.
And did
Let
you
the
see
Wookiee win.
they had what's his name? Black something. He's the black Wookiee. He ripped the guy's arm off, and that was an homage to that was paying a tribute
Back
to.
to the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, he says Wookiees rip arms. Remember, he says if you don't let them win, they'll rip arms off.
That's
So,
funny.
what if here's one? What if Luke got killed by Walrus Man and what's his face?
That's true. Yeah,
I'm wanted in whatever
yeah, exactly.
solar
My
system.
friend don't like you.
I don't
Don't
like
like you.
What if they wound up killing Luke? Right?
That would have been interesting.
What if Kenobi beat Vader in the Death Star? What if the Wampa ate
What
Luke?
if Han Solo didn't fire first?
Well, they already screwed that up. What if Han Solo froze to death looking for Luke and never found him?
Who would win, Wookiee versus Wampas?
I'd have to go with Wampas. They're bigger and stronger, not as fast though. They're like a Wookiee times 10.
Huge.
And that's the thing in the Thrawn trilogy, they get into Wookiees, their claws and how they scale trees and how they're strong and massive and they're great hand combat fighters and he gets Timothy Zahn touches on that because she goes with Leia goes with Chewbacca to Kashyyyk in that trilogy. And
so many alternate universes.
And there's just so many great villains. I mean, Darth. Obviously, all the Sith are amazing, and then you've got Boba Fett, and then you've got Bossk and Dengar and Forlom and Zuckuss and IG-88. But then you've also got General Grievous, which I think is awesome. Count Dooku. So you got Asajj Ventress. Awesome.
Here's the funny thing, and Star Wars has always been guilty of it. For some reason, and maybe it's just the short sight of the whole thing. They don't seem to realize which characters will be big and which characters will not be big. There'll be times they'll introduce a character and kill them off like this, and you're like,
Boba Fett and Darth Maul,
why'd you introduce them in the first place? Yeah,
Boba Fett and Darth Maul, right there.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Why are you? And it's the same problem. Like in that first trilogy and the second trilogy, you set up this villain, Darth Maul, in the first one. And then Snoke in the second one, and then you decide, okay, we kill him off in the first movie.
I mean, and then you just see Snoke in a test tube, and he was a failed clone of the Emperor. Except he doesn't look like the Emperor at all. So how is he?
I forgot that was the
Emperor?
explanation.
It's dumb.
The explanation doesn't work.
But again, J.J. Abrams had no choice. What the hell was he going to do after Rian Johnson shit the bed all over Star Wars blankets? Which I still have from the 70s. I put up a post a month or two ago.
I remember when you put it up, yeah.
We had the sheets and the blankets and the pillowcases and the curtains, and wow, we were all Star Wars all the time. I just recently sold the original action figures to Fourth World. Before COVID. I needed the money, and I had the original Darth Vader where it pulled the saber out, and I had the Ben Kenobi and R2-D2 and all that. And they were in great shape. They're open, but
You
they're in
must
great
have
shape.
got some good money for them.
I did.
That's
Fourth
what I
World
thought.
was good. I also sold all my Marvel Universe figures and the Build-A-Figures, the Sentinel and Apocalypse and Galactus, and I got a lot of money.
Yeah, all that stuff. Everything you mentioned right now is that stuff that the collectors are looking for right now.
I really feel right now, if these people had any brains in their head, they would play on nostalgia more.
Yeah.
The people with the money to burn are the older audience. You're trying to get these college students that don't have two pennies to rub together to want to buy your stuff. You're trying to get people who they may, watch the movie, but they don't read the book or the comic and you're alienating the people that were diehards for 30, 40 years. There's got to be a way for these people to still be able to provide entertainment for us old folk and not alienate us. And they proved that with David Fillion, that's his name, and John Favreau, or Favreau, whatever you want to call him, with Mandalorian. You proved that you can bridge that gap.
But that's what I was about to say. All you need to do is write a good story. Even if you're catering to the older generation, if you write a good story, the younger generation will follow.
Right. Damn it, I want that, Charles. I had that, and I had the rifle, and I had the lightsabers, which were basically just a flashlight with the plastic tube on them. I want that blaster, and it still works. That's insane. Oh,
wow.
Charles, I gotta pay you a visit. And if it's stolen, it wasn't
pew,
me.
Pew pew pew
pew pew. That was an awesome gun. He had a great gun. I had a little sight on it and stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be. They've proven you can do it with Mandalorian. So now they just have to apply it to the movies and get their ass moving because they can make a lot of money. Because I'm sorry, we would all eat up Star Wars 24/7 as long as they were putting out stuff that appealed to us.
I completely agree. He still has this original Star Wars.
Yeah, except Joe's only like 30 years old, I think, 32. So, I mean, that's great. But I was 5 when I got the Star Wars toys, and that was 44 years ago. So,
it's funny because I was never into the Star Wars toys. I was into the Joes.
I was in all of it. I had Star Wars, G.I. Joes, Transformers. I had Mask. Remember Mask?
Mask, yeah.
I had Thundercats. I mean, I had everything, man. I collected everything. The He-Man, Masters Universe. Oh, those were fun times with fun toys, man.
It was so funny because when my parents was like, well, you pick one thing. I'm like, okay, fine. Joe's it is. And Joe's, you had a plethora of things to get into. And then my brother showed up and stole all my toys.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I love those Joes. I've got I collect the new line now, which is really good. So they made it all Target exclusive, which they changed that. Thank God, it was dumb.
But are they still doing the con exclusives?
They do them. Yeah, they still do them.
Because I know if
they do them for Black Series Star Wars figures, which I collect those. Oh, I love those.
Because I know that, like, I know I know in New York Comic Con, there's always some Joe or Star Wars exclusive, and I know that in LA Comic Con they do the same thing, and collectors are always looking for them.
Oh yeah, and then they flip them for $5 billion.
Yeah,
bastards! You can't even collect toys anymore. I remember there was a Jason's Toy Store on Jamaica Avenue in Woodhaven, where I used to live in Ozone Park, and I used to walk 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it was, 9 blocks to get there. And they had wall-to-wall action figures, and I would go look for Storm Shadow. Do you have Storm Shadow? And they never had it because it was a rare figure, and it was not.
It was hard to find. Yeah.
And I remember walking in there one day, and there he was, and I was like, I grabbed that bad boy, just like Boba Fett was the same thing. He was a mail away, and then they finally put him out, but without the missile that came out of the back. And I found him. And it was such a great feeling when I found that Storm Shadow. Oh, I loved that figure. He had the swords. He had the nunchucks.
Yeah, that one was hard.
I loved that figure.
Yeah. I remember loving the Destro because it was so shiny.
Oh, Destro's a great character. He's a great, and Zartan I love.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, Joe, your generation was good, but you just missed great.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Look, you can argue that no matter what generation you were brought up in, is going to be your favorite, right? I get that. But I can prove why the 80s was the best generation.
Oh my god, so many toys.
It had the most diverse selection of anything. Music. You could listen to Russian progressive rock and Dream Theater, to metal, Metallica and Megadeth, to the Thompson Twins, to Genesis, to Madonna and Michael Jackson, to disco was still around. I mean, rap. They had the Fat Boys and stuff. Rap had started, so you had like everything, and it was all out there. So it wasn't like it was a little of this, a lot of that. It was all evenly out there.
I think it's
That's
so
music.
funny that we were called the disposable generation.
I know, right? And then you look at movies. You had
Oh my
everything from
gosh, yeah.
Star Wars and Indiana Jones to Back to the Future to Excalibur in 1981 to horror films like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Howling to, just Jaws.
Goonies.
Well, Jaws
Oh,
was 1970 something, but
Never Ending
Goonies,
Story.
Monster Squad.
Oh my god, so many movies.
It's Adventures in Babysitting.
Yeah.
I mean, you had so much. And then toys, we just named them. G.I. Joe, He-Man, Thundercats, Silverhawks, Star Wars,
Voltron,
Star Trek, Voltron, She-Ra. I know I'm missing stuff. Transformers, G.I. Joe, just
that was a
every
lot of
mask.
stuff. There's stuff that people don't even know existed. Yeah.
I mean, you had everything, man, and it was the best. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Exactly.
And 84 had Terminator, Aliens 2. My first Joes were Flash and Stalker. That's funny. My first G.I. Joe was Stalker. Snake Eyes and Stalker were my first G.I. Joes. Stalker was the only one that they didn't make the Kung Fu grip to go this way. He stayed this way only. It was great.
Love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, 80s were the best.
Oh, the $6 Million Man figure.
$6 million man.
I had one of
the
those.
eye. You could look through his eye.
And then you had that arm that you can fix. Yeah.
That was awesome. Best generation, hands down, best generation. And
that
it was
Wonder
also the best
Wonder Woman was fantastic. I know it's more 70s, but Wonder Woman was like,
you had the superpowers. Super Friends became superpowers in the 80s, and that's when you started seeing Firestorm and all of them. And you had those figures, and then you had the Marvel figures from Secret Wars, and then comics were the best in the 80s.
Yeah, it was,
you had Mutant Massacre.
It was individual stories, and then every once in a while they would do a big story.
And then you had the Bionics. That's right.
The Bionic 6. Bionic 6. Woo!
There was so much. Planet of the Apes toys.
Yeah.
You still have them? I lost them, and we were moving, and I think one of the people that helped me move stole my G.I. Joes. So
those things are popular.
Everything.
The G.I. Joes are popular as heck.
Now,
so people steal those things like crazy.
Star Wars. Name the top 3 Jedi and top 3 Sith of all time.
I gotta say, on the Sith list, Vader's up there. You can't get away from it, especially like the more they dive into his character. I feel like the first trilogy of movies didn't help you see him as a badass, though.
Right. Well, you weren't supposed to. You were supposed to see him being redeemed, but I'd say Vader, Maul, and maybe Revan, and best as far as non-Sith villains. I'd have I love Bosk and Dengar. I love Boba Fett, and I love General Grievous. But I also like Aura Singh a lot too. Aura Singh was pretty cool. As far as Jedis, I love Luke, Kit Fisto, and Yoda. Those are the Jedis for me.
I'm an Obi-Wan fan. I feel like Obi-Wan is more the hero than Luke is.
Who's Darth Mural? And Grievous isn't really a Sith. IG-88. I don't know if you know this. IG-88, his head, you know what it is? It was a prop. When you look at the cantina in New Hope, in the back, the vats that brought out the drink are IG-88's head upside down.
That's funny.
And when they went to make this robot, they had a tight budget. They were like, "What were you gonna do?" So they had that prop left over. So they decided to flip it over and make it his head. Oh, cool, Len. We'll check it out. Thanks.
3D Joes. That sounds interesting. 3D
So-
Joes.
I remember when the first G.I. Joe cartoon came out. It was after school. It was at 5:00. It
Oh, yeah.
premiered.
Yeah.
At the time, Thundercats had come out right after too. No, Grievous isn't a Sith, but he was taught by Darth Tyrannus to use sabers, but he wasn't a Sith. Cool, I'll check it out. And I remember that first GI Joe, and they were going at Cobra's Fortress, and just these characters. Spirit, I love Spirit.
That was the original series with the Weather Dominator, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Because I'm always making fun of the Weather Dominator. The snow is happening right now, so I'm probably going to do the joke again.
Damn that Cobra Commander. Yeah, my favorite G.I. Joe villains are Zartan, Destro, and Storm Shadow. And my favorite heroes are Spirit, Duke, and Snake Eyes with Quick Kick close fourth. I used to like the figure of Quick Kick.
I loved Shipwreck, though.
I just couldn't get into him with his sailor hat. I don't know. The parrot.
Well, they didn't use them much, so.
Oh, I also had a Junkyard with his dog. I had him. He was. Dude,
oh my God! Of course, I had Sergeant Slaughter. As soon as he became a Joe,
it started to go downhill for
Sergeant
me.
Slaughter, yeah.
Joe's and you know where they're going? They're not going to Marvel. Guess who I think they're saying is getting Transformers and G.I. Joe? Skybound. Robert Kirkman.
Yeah?
That's what I heard. I heard that he's the one who's going to get the new contract. My favorite Transformer is Sideswipe because I love Lamborghinis. And then Sunstreak was his brother. I like him too. And then, of course, I like Optimus Prime.
I was an Omega Supreme fan. Omega Supreme.
I saw that new Transformers show that came out on Netflix. It was really good, and I think there's 2 follow-ups, and I didn't watch them. I got to check them out. Oh yeah, you too? And I also like the old ones, Prowl and Jazz.
Jazz was great. Yeah.
Jazz was Scatman.
And I'm a Bumblebee fan, so when they made the Bumblebee movie, but I still wish they would have done the VW.
Right.
Instead of the
Camaro,
the Mustang, Camaro, whatever.
Camaro. Yeah, and you remember Scatman Crothers did the voice for Jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Man, those times were so good.
And Starscream was actually Cobra Commander.
Yeah, exactly. My wife laughed. She goes, Starscream is such a stupid name. Starscream. Jetfire, that was the best action figure.
Oh my God, Jetfire was huge.
His arm broke off, and I just recently, a few years ago, I gave him to somebody to fix for me, and they took him, and I never heard from him again. Oh, I love that figure. What's in your comic?
It's in my comic. Who was the triple Transformer?
The triple?
He would turn into 3 different things. It was a tank, an airplane, and something else.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forget.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite villain, Soundwave. His voice was cool.
Oh,
he had
I love
all those
Soundwave.
cassettes. Soundwave
and I love the cassettes.
Cool.
Oh my God, yeah.
Best.
I used to have all the cassette guys.
Yeah, me too. If I had the money, I'd like to get the new one that does all the movements and he transfers. Awesome.
Oh my God, I saw him. I was dying to get him. I was like, Autobots transform and roll out.
Yeah, they were all good. I loved Optimus Prime. Yeah, man.
Well, I still think the original animated movie is the best Transformer movie of them all. So better than all these Michael Bay shoes.
Yeah, the only thing is I hated that they killed off Optimus and went to Rodimus Prime. Rodimus Prime sucked. I don't care what anybody says. That character sucked.
That's why when they brought back Optimus Prime, I was so happy.
I also didn't like that his car thing that he turned into was like a space age car. It looked like shit.
Yeah.
Give me garbage. Get out of here.
And they didn't.
Robert, are you still here, Robert? Are you still here? Are you spooning at this point? Are you here? Anyway, well, we're gonna wrap things up, but before we do,
Yeah, because we've gone all over the place today.
I have this issue of Tragedy, issue 2, chapter 2. It has one minor damage right there, but the story is perfectly fine and intact. Okay, I don't want to ruin it for you though, so let me go here. Anybody who wants this issue for free, shipping is on me. Put your
Nice.
name in the chat right now, and you will be in a raffle over the weekend, and you'll get it for free, shipped to you on me. All right, 26 pages, full color story. Boom. Reach out to me by putting your name in the chat and say you want the, tell me that you want it. You're a contestant. If you want to be in, you're in. So Keith, you're in. Joe is in.
Len.
Well, Len, you're getting comms too, by the way. So okay. So you three are in. Is Charles still here? Who's the fourth person that's not speaking up? If you're interested in. And listen, anybody who watches this video after and cheats and goes to the end, you can join, but because you didn't watch the whole damn thing, that sucks. But if they watch the replay, I can't say that they didn't watch the replay. So
that's true.
You can all, anybody who's interested, even if it's tomorrow when you rewatch this, I'll get alerts to anybody who adds to this chat. Just write, you want in, I'm in, okay?
I'm in.
And you'll all be put on the wheel. Ref, if you want to be put on the wheel, you can be too, because technically, even though you were having a conversation with me, you have nothing to do with this, and I'm going to do it live. So, yeah, I'm going to be a Garden State Lamb. I'm not vending, though.
I'm saying it on the camera. Stef Wilson's stuff is fantastic. So, yeah, put me in.
And I just want to make this clear. I'm doing it live on a wheel, so you can see there's no foul play. Whoever gets the wheel spin random will win. I want to remind you, we're on Indiegogo right now. If you haven't backed Tragedy, I'm telling you, it's a good, well-written book. I'm proud of it. The art is amazing. Ricardo did an amazing job. Chris Sotomayor's
He's actually stepped up in this next issue. Woof.
Yeah, and Chris compliments him well with his colors.
Exactly.
And they're bright and they're exuberant, and it's a well-written book. Really interesting characters. I think you'll really like. Listen, you keep investing money in mainstream comics, and you walk away disappointed all the time because you're hoping they'll write the character you love better.
Exactly.
It's not happening.
No.
You spend money on garbage and waste all the time. I promise you, this is a good investment. If you're an artist, I have sketch covers. You can buy a sketch cover. We have a tier where it's $10 for one, and it's $8 each. You get 5 for $40. So you get $8 a sketch cover. You get the 26 issue full color story. And then you can turn around, draw on it, and sell it for $40, $50, $60, $70, $80 as a commission to somebody, and you get a huge markup.
Dude,
it's a worthwhile investment.
Look at what Ong Vu did with hers, man. That was beautiful.
Yeah. So artists, you can get this. If you don't want this to if you're an artist, you can do this to make money. If you're an art collector, you can buy it and get your favorite artist to draw on it. Draw whatever you want. You can have somebody fighting Tragedy, Elektra versus Tragedy, or whatever. Triple changes are an amazing concept. What is a triple changer?
The Transformer.
Oh, that's it. Oh, okay.
And Oninger is going to go draw his book. Hey.
See you later, John.
Get busy, man. We want to see that next book.
Not only does the campaign have a ton of covers, Tyler Kirkham, Ryan Kincaid, Alex Sinclair colors over Al Garza, a bunch of great indie artists like Len Danovich, Nick Justice. If you can't pick which book you want, we have a book of covers.
And dude, that's why when I supported the Kickstarter, I got myself one of these because I knew I couldn't afford to buy all those books separately.
And I don't want to milk anybody. I don't want you to buy all the same book 10 times. I'm not trying to do that to people. You get every cover in this book, and you got a new wraparound cover, colored by Russ Cassidy, drawn by Chris Graves. You get my wife's cover in there.
She did an amazing job with that cover.
Yeah, and Mato Zapata and Pete Palmiotti, and then, dude, I mean, look, Will Pladen was here
Oh,
earlier. He did the painted,
beautiful.
and then you
Oh,
got Chance Wolf. You got Chris Mad and Rob Powers, who was here earlier.
I love that Rob Powers. That's the cover I got.
John, did I send you the book? Because I don't remember. Did you really read it, John?
It's good to
Thank
hear,
you for
John.
saying so. How did he get it? Did I send it to you? Because I don't remember. And I mean, Mato Zapata and Henry Martinez with Keith Williams. We got big names in here. We got strong indie people. I mean, dude, you're getting amazing art in this book, and you don't have to worry about everything. There's the two Stef Wilsons, and he
Both
has a
covers.
third book. He has a cover for book 3. Sean Chen, color variants.
Look at that. Beautiful.
And of course, the biggest. Oh, Roy Mercado. Love this cover. Look at that. And in foil, this is badass in foil.
That's the one you did in the lava foil, right?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh.
Will Spatasio, Mike Mez Phillips, and the biggest seller to date,
the Ian Miller.
Ian Churchill.
Oh, sorry, Churchill. Oh my God.
Why is it going fuzzy? Come on. Well, anyway, there you go. And then you've got the Tyler Kirkham that's out now, and Larry Stroman, and Ryan Kincaid, and Idan with these Breath of the Dragon covers. Hey, Maromi.
Oh my God. Beautiful. Just beautiful.
And then you got Nick Justice. We did a Batman homage cover. Now we took off the logo where it says Tragedy, the animated series. But
It looks even better like that, yeah.
Dude, I mean, Alex Sarabia and Kenny Calderon. And then finally, my kids in the back.
Oh, that's so cute.
And now, let me tell you something. Chris Graves is so good at gray tones and black and white that if you don't want the color,
you can go black and white noir.
In black and white.
Oh, look how beautiful that
is. But here's the thing.
White.
In the black and white, at the end, you have the double color. So you're not slighted.
Ooh.
See? Okay?
Nice.
And in the other one, if you buy the color cover, you have the black and white on the inside.
Oh, cool. So you're not jipping anybody.
Angel Manuel Lopez.
Oh, there you go. Son of Saint is beautiful cover.
Here's the funny thing. I went to Comics Wellspring and changed my printer. The last printer was awesome as far as their quality of work, but their customer service was bad. You can't feel it or see it. There's texture to this. You feel the lines on it. It's amazing. It's like you feel bumps and lines.
I always like when the comic book is like that, when you actually feel. Yeah.
Dude, you'll see because I packed yours up. It's going to be shipped out.
All right.
So if not tomorrow because of a snowstorm Monday, but you feel the lines on here. They did an amazing job. So look, we have a book of covers, right? We have the book itself with variant covers. It's 26 color issues, full story, no filler. We've got sketchbooks. And we have catch-up tiers. You get book 1 and book 2. Or if you just want it digitally. If you're international, shipping is crazy. I'm shipping out Peter Clinton's. He lives in London, and I'm giving him his comps. It's $25 to ship it to him. It's $25 to ship to Canada. But if you're international and you really want this book, and I've had 3 people who want a person in Germany backed, reach out to me. I'll tell you what the shipping is. If it's worth it to you, we'll work it out. Okay, because there's the donation spot on the campaigns, right? You're gonna get charged $8 for shipping. If it's worth it to you, just put the remainder of the shipping in the donation. You pick your tier, you pay for it, you're good to go. And I'll make it worth your while. I'll try to throw something in special for you, for you spending the extra in shipping. No slight to people that live domestic, but these people are paying out of their ass.
Exactly.
You're paying $8 shipping here in America, and you're paying $25 overseas. So it's, gotta make it worth their while. You won't be disappointed. The first story ends in a shocker that nobody saw coming. The second story, I play with you a little bit with how the story goes.
Dude, man, that cliffhanger for that first book, dude, you don't see it coming, people. You have to read this book. You have to read it and then, enjoy the second book because he does a good job at explaining everything and it's part of the story. So you don't feel like you're being told stuff. You're being shown and you're being told the story.
And I really Joe and Tony, everybody loves them. They say they're
Mhm.
funny and they're relatable and they're good characters. Um, Breath of the Dragon, I'm very proud of his aesthetics, of his design. I designed all my characters. I designed them all. That's Breath of the Dragon. I designed them all. And there are 4 reveals in issue 2 that you don't see coming either. 4. 4. I promise you, this book stands up against any book out there right now,
Yep,
in my
it
opinion. And
does.
I know I may be
Mhm.
biased because I'm the writer, but when
I'm
two
not biased, and I read it.
you read the first 8 scripts,
Exactly.
when 2 legendary writers, artists, and editors in Marvel and DC say that the book is good, I feel confident. Back the book, guys. Please forego that crappy Starbucks coffee just this week to back the book. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. And the money goes right back into the book.
Yep,
No amount of money is spent on anything but hiring artists and paying for the book to be printed. I promise you that. You're not paying for a night out dinner to celebrate. You're not paying for a new shirt. You're not paying for a dinner or a car, because I sure as hell don't make that money. I'm putting it all back into the book. And we have redrawn a third of book 1, and Chris
that's
Sotomayor
right. You
is
were talking about
recoloring
that.
it. Chris
Mm.
Sotomayor is recoloring it. And we are going to shop to Image. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this is the God's honest truth, you mark my words. Is it a long shot that I get picked up by Image? I know it is. But if Image picks me up and I'm now published through them, all of these Philbo Entertainment Promotions books are going to be rare as hell. And you're going to wish you got one.
Exactly.
I'm serious. Oh, man. Keith, thank you so much. One of the best comics I read in a long time.
I
People
agree.
have told me that. They're telling me that my comic reminds them of when they were excited to go to comic book day on Wednesdays in the 90s. That's what they're
Yeah.
telling me.
You go and get a nice story, a good book, have some fun.
Yeah, and there's no boring exposition, and I promise you it's not a pulpit, it's a book. You should never know what my political or social beliefs are. If I do that in my book, I have failed you. I have failed you. I'm just putting out a good story with characters I think you can relate to and enjoy. That's it. That's it at the end of the day. I'm a fanboy. I'm a lover of comics for 40 years. And now I don't even collect X-Men anymore, and they were my beloved characters. I promise you this book is written well. And it's not just a crime story. There are superpowered people.
Yep.
There's magic and mysticism. There's martial arts. There's mafia. There's monsters. I
Who
mean,
doesn't like monsters?
I still haven't given you, dude. You're 12 scripts behind there, Ralph.
Yeah, you gotta send them to me.
Yeah, I know. I feel like you've been so busy. If I send them, they're just gonna sit there. So,
Well, send them, and hopefully it'll give me something to keep my mind off what's going on. So,
well, whatever's going on, I hope it goes okay.
thank you.
So anyway, look, we had fun talking Star Wars. Always good hanging out with you. I don't even know what it's like outside with the snow. I have to look.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do when we finish. Go see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, guys, please support the arts, support things you love, support comics, whether it's mine or when Ralph gets his out.
Yeah, or some of the other Kickstarters out there. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
American Kaiju's out right now. They could
Right.
use your support. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, we're glad that you came and joined us. We love the participation in the chat. We appreciate everybody that stuck out with us and joined in. How bad is there in Cincinnati? Talk Snow Angels photo. Snow Angels. I'm gonna go write my name now.
How did that happen?
It's got to be in script though. It's a little hard to do it in.
Oh my god.
Stop and go. And listen, Len Danovich has a cover on the book.
Mm.
Support artists. Support
Or
them.
artists,
I had
writers.
someone say, "Oh, you've got too many covers," blah blah blah. And I understand if you feel that way, but please understand, I'm employing artists. I'm
Yeah.
trying to give them a chance to make money and continue their dream as I'm trying to continue my dream. And that's why I did the book cover, so you don't have to feel overwhelmed. Just pick up
Yeah.
the studio cover and buy the book of covers if there's a few you like. But don't be overwhelmed. I can help you guide through it if you need. And don't pass up on a good story that you may love just because you feel it's too many covers or whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're here wanting a good story. It doesn't matter, what my tribe is, which is really just my family or whatever. Just enjoy the book. Yeah, I saw the Super 7 is doing the Joe's lineup now. I saw that. Tomax and Zaymot look awesome.
Dude, Mexico Toys is doing the Joes, the bigger style. Which bugged me out. I was like, whoa. I was like, hey, I want myself a nice big Joe.
And and that's the thing. We just talked about nostalgia here. Then pick up my book, and I think you'll feel
definitely.
like you were reading a
Definitely.
book in the 90s. I do.
This thing feels
it
just like
looks
one of those 90s books, yeah.
It looks like a 90s book. It feels like a 90s book. I'm telling you, it'll be a nice trip down memory lane in the way you felt when you opened a book and you're like, okay, this is interesting. And if you wind up feeling like, you know what, I don't agree, I didn't think the book was great, and thank God nobody has said that yet, okay. I get it. But you won't know till you try. Give it a shot. We're on Indiegogo right now. Ralph, can you drop the link for me? Because it never lets me do this.
Hold on a second. I'll find it.
Sorry.
There it goes. Indiegogo.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, we just had this on Monday when we were talking about your book. So it's a little easy to find you.
By the way, I do the art book on digital format also, which means you can print it up as prints as often as you want.
Dude, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's not just a physical copy. You could get all 3 books. There's a tier of the PDF only of all 3 books. So it's $6. I think it's $30. You get all 3. So you get every cover digitally. You can print them out as you see fit, have them as wallpapers on your computer, just save them on your desk. You could print it out and make the book yourself.
Definitado. All right, let's see.
Oh, cool. My book is coming out in spring this year, My Life with an 80s Girl. Well, I'll help you promote it, Joe. You can share it on my page, tag me. We'll help you. I'll help you for sure. And, Ralph has his show. He has 2 shows, so, yeah, we'll help.
Yeah, definitely. Come on. We'll talk.
We
like to geek out.
Are you working for Lego? Wow, Keith is throwing some major compliments out here. Thank you, Keith. It's very humbling. Just waiting for him to drop the link.
I gave you one in the private chat because I'm trying to get the other one in.
Yeah, I can't put it in. That's the problem.
That's so weird.
Well, because it only shows up on the CreatorCon page, not my main page, and it gets buried on CreatorCon.
When I put it up for when we're doing the show, it shows up for let me see. It shows up for the Bitten Apple. What is it? The Bitten Apple, the Written Writ. No, okay, we do it for the Bitten Apple, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
That's awesome. Dude, and listen, I have to say this. It's really important that I say this. Yesterday, I put up the post. We were at like $912.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, hey, guys, can we get the campaign over $1,000 within the next day? A whole host of you shared out this post. And then we got some pledges, and we got over $1,000 in a few hours. I cannot express to you enough how grateful and thankful I am to you, everybody who rallied around me just to get me over 1,000. I mean, and Andrew Dodge, I believe, was the one that got me over 1,000, and I think he pledged on the Kickstarter too. So Actually, he pledged a lot on the Kickstarter, I think. So I'm very sincere when I say this, and I'm very humbled the way people rallied around me and they're supporting this book. I don't know what to say. And what they did yesterday to get me over 1,000. And just thank you so very much.
I think I hit
I
all
really
three.
appreciate it.
Yep, I put the link in all three.
Thank you. I will not be doing my con this year because I don't trust New York government yet. No, never did. But they could throw a mandate the day before my show and derail everything.
Yeah, a lot of people are waiting. Some people have started already with their conventions, but a lot of people are waiting to see what
Yeah.
happens next. Yeah.
Hey Joe, that sounds pretty interesting. It's Back to the Future meets Can't Buy Me Love. I love that movie with a little Archie thrown in. I
You
really
got
like
my
Patrick
attention.
Dempsey
Yeah.
Can't Buy Me Love. That
I
sounds
love
cool.
all three of those things.
Yeah. Closed for the season until April. Oh, okay. So yeah, I
That's
just want
funny.
to
That's not
thank
the first
everybody.
person that's asked me if you're doing your convention this year.
A ton of people are asking
Yeah.
me, and I appreciate that too. But now, listen, when I come back, Ralph, it's not Suffolk, it's CreatorCon,
I know.
and it's 2 days. And I'm telling you, my artist alleys have always been like crazy. Just wait. Just wait. It's going to be an artist alley. I've been told that my artist alley rivals the quality of New York Comic Con, Baltimore,
Definitely.
just in a small 1 day package show. Well, wait until I get my 2 day and you see who's here.
Definitely, because like I've told you before, it feels more like a comic book convention than a lot of the conventions do anymore. Because it's more about the writers and the artists and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Ralph with the Bitten Apple, Leslie, and everybody, they're there as free press. They're always there as press. So, and it came from the radio with Mark Torres.
Of course, man. We can't be there without. It came from the radio. Mark Torres.
Yeah, they're there as free press as well. And then Andy Lee, who's lesdudas.com, is also free press. So those are my free press guys. They always get passes. They come in and they do reviews and interviews of the show. And
Yep.
Maybe you run into them at a show and get on camera. Yeah, Joe, I'll let you know. Trust me. My tables are affordable, and I'll mix you in with all the quote unquote big legends in the industry. You could be sitting next to Adam Kubert for all I know. I could put you next to Dale Keown or Barry Kitson or whoever you want.
I'm always amazed who you have at your conventions. It's always great to see who you got.
Well, Ralph, in the 4 or 5 years you've known me, looking at my comic, looking at my convention, looking at my live stream, you do it right or you don't do it at all.
Exactly.
I go balls to the wall. I do my best to look professional or have the best talent or make it a worthwhile product.
Yep.
Because that's what you do. That's how you do things. Period.
Completely.
Having said that, what's that?
I said completely.
Having said that, before we wrap up, again, please, guys, this is the Indiegogo. Type in Tragedy Chapters 1 and 2, and you'll find it in 5 seconds. We're at $108. We're out of a funding goal of $500. The books are already here and printed, so you won't have to wait once this campaign's.
Dude, that's right. I didn't even think about that. You're right. With the Indiegogo, as soon as it finishes, the books go out.
Now, someone told me Indiegogo, they take the money right away. So can I ship these books out to these people now?
Good question. Because I know it's different with Indiegogo. With Indiegogo, you get your money no matter what. With Kickstarter, it has to fund, right?
Yeah. But I don't know if they charge right immediately, and they're already paid, because I got to wait for Indiegogo to pay me out at the end of it. So that's why I don't send the books out yet. But the quality of this book, I'm telling you, real quick, we're going to scroll down. Where the hell did the page go? That is so weird.
Do you need to refresh?
Maybe. Again, we have a PDF for $6.
Your
guys.
page still loading.
Yeah. We have a PDF for $6, guys. I mean, really, you can't go wrong. You tell me you can't afford $6. Some people can't. Some people can. Give it a shot. Yeah, It's not,
Still
you know
loading.
what? It's because
Yeah.
of the snowstorm.
Yeah, I have trouble with my connection during the storm. I'm surprised I'm still on.
And I want to make this clear too. I fulfill quickly. My campaign for Kickstarter ended a month ago,
He's already
and
fulfilling. Yeah.
everybody's got no fulfilling. I'm done.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
got
that's
the
right. You
books.
said you were done. Yeah.
We had delays, otherwise it would have been sooner. I got the books in Wednesday. My awesome wife and I, in 7 hours, while I was trying to work and I had an orientation last night at 9 o'clock, we
Wow.
banged out the books. 222 backers in 7 hours. And my lovely daughter Melanie was printing labels with me today. And they're going out to the post office tomorrow if the weather permits. If not, go out Monday. You'll get your books by no later than Friday. I don't waste time. Your money and your time is valuable, and I'm not going to waste it. So I fulfill quickly. You do not wait for me. There's no 5-month wait. I know books that they were due in September. Here we are, January. I haven't heard a word from them, and they still haven't.
I'm still waiting on certain Kickstarters. Yeah.
Yeah. I can name one right now. I've asked for a refund 5 times, and they're refusing to give me my refund, and they haven't delivered, and they're 5 months late. And I got flack for it from a few jackasses online. But anyway, the point is, your money goes to where it goes to, and I get you your book right away. You get your book. Yeah. Oh, well. The weather must be really bad now. All right. So, Tragedy Chapters 1 and 2, guys. Come on. I am serious about this. If I get picked up by Image, and you never know, these books here that I'm selling with the Filbo Entertainment Promotions logo are going to become... Here, I'm going to show you. This is my publishing company, right? I'm a self-publisher.
Yep, Filbo.
Filbo Entertainment Promotions. By the way, Rob Howard's created the logo.
You go, Rob
Filbo.
Powers.
This book with that logo, if I go to Image and the book starts to get a big following, these are going to be rare and expensive.
And we've seen it over and over where independents all of a sudden and show up in those comic book coffins and start selling for tons of money.
I mean, think about it. Imagine you wow, we're losing my clarity here. Imagine I do blow up. What if it does? And you have, for $10, you've got the book, and I blow up, and now the book's worth $100.
Yep.
You never know. Well, what if she becomes a major character and you've got the first appearance? I mean, imagine Spawn didn't have a big print run, and he printed his own before he went to Image or something, and you have the first Spawn, or I don't know, Savage Dragon, whatever you want to say, or whatever. I mean, they were overly printed, so they're not worth a lot of money. But say they weren't overly printed, how much would Spawn #1 be? That's McFarlane. It's a big character.
I remember those books came out in the 90s. They're still expensive to buy because even when there were so many.
Well, I have all those, all the first Spawns, and I don't think you get more than like $30 on. I don't know. Well, I don't know anymore. I haven't kept track of the market. But anyway, so I know it sounds like a marketing scheme, but it's the truth. You don't know who's going to make it and who's not.
Exactly.
But for $10, why don't you take a shot? Anyway, Rafael, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you,
It was
Joe.
always a blast to hang out with you and talk geekery.
Yeah, it was fun. We'll do a Star Trek or something. See, the thing is, I didn't watch all those Star Trek shows. I didn't watch Deep Space Nine. They bored me. Next Generation bored the shit out of me. It was like a soap opera in space.
Well, as you can see here, we can just talk Star Trek and the Star Trek universe, and enough where you can actually talk about it. So,
I will say this though: my life motto revolves around 2 lines that Kirk says in Wrath of Khan. I don't believe in a no-win situation.
Kobayashi Maru.
And I don't like to lose. Those are my 2 models, and that's why I like Kirk. He always found a way out of what you thought was a no-win situation. You may have to sacrifice more than you want to, but you can always find a way.
Yeah, to overcome.
Yeah, we'll do a Transformers and Joe show. That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
I'll get Livio to come on too and just talk because Livio Ramondelli draws Transformers, So
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm a big Transformers and Joe fan, so
Cool. Guys,
I
thanks
think I
for
still got all
sticking
my
with
Joe
us.
comics and my Transformer comics.
Yeah, I don't own the original Marvel Joe comics. I want to though. That's one of the comics I want to back collect.
I'm surprised. I figured you would.
Oh, my brother had them and I read his, so I don't
Ah,
have mine.
okay.
So I want to get mine.
All right.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. I don't know. I got Keith and Joe in here. I don't know who the other two people are. We're probably in the background, but appreciate you guys staying on. Back Tragedy. Go check out the Written Writ. Go check out the Apple Bites. Ralph, plug yourself real quick.
All right, Mondays, you got Apple Bites at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday. And on Wednesday, you have the Written Writ, late right at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Come talk about writing, creating, geeking out. Let's have some fun. If you want to be on the show, let me know. We can come and talk about your projects as well.
Yeah, it's a fun, loose show. You just hang out and talk like we did
Exactly.
tonight. So, one more thing. I will be with Ricardo Silva, the artist on the book,
Oh, that's right.
on Comics Cast, 1:00 on Sunday. 1:00, I'm going to be on Talking Tragedy, but Ricardo's going to be drawing live. And we're going to talk about Ricardo's career as well. So it's going to be more than just tragedy. It's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. Comics Cast, Sunday, 1 p.m., guys. Come check it out.
It'll be a tragedy if you miss it.
Guys, what do I always leave you with, right? Do you remember my taglines, Ralph?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to say the first one. You say the second one.
All right.
All right? No. Well, which do you prefer? First or second?
I'm a big fan of The Princess Bride, so.
Okay, then you do the second. So, be legendary.
Have fun storming the castle.